20th of June. A very special day indeed. Good morning, Angeline.
Good morning. It's bright, breezy, sunny and hot here in London. And good to see all of you. There's a new sound in my ear.
There is a new sound. Have we got music still going on?
It's still going on, yes.
Ah, of course, of course. Is that because they've cancelled the attack on Iran? What's coming up on today's show? Let's have a quick look. We've got myself and Angeline through until 8:15.
It's going to be a cracker because we got Bat and Tom Sosnoff back with us on the show.
Well, first you've got Isar though.
Yeah.
So 8:15, Isar coming in to join Angeline for the week ahead. And then between 8:35 and 9:30, we have got the one, the only, Tony Battista and Tom Sosnoff joining us this very morning. We all went out for dinner last night for a warm-up for tonight's big event. And a warm-up it certainly was. 9:45, we got Nick Battista as well. That is a video interview that I did with him. So that's Tony's son, of course. And you can see if you can spot the difference between Nick Battista 20 years after his father.
I have to say they both have, they're blessed with Mediterranean skin.
Yes.
You know, they both look very, very youthful. I'm very jealous.
Now, Ange, where did we go last night?
So we went to Brat in Hackney, which was unbelievable, wasn't it? The food was incredible. We had the steak and we had like crabs as well. Mm-hmm. Did you delve into the crabs or was it a bit too messy for you?
No, I tried. It was a full crab. She'll actually we'll get the pictures up for you in a minute because I've got them on the phone.
I've got some too as well.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Go on,
you want to see them? So this is zooming in on the Twitter site whilst Rich is getting his up. It was quite something. The food is incredible. There's Tom Sosnoff himself there. We're trying to cool down with these beers. And then look at this happy face there.
Tricky night for me.
There's Liz and also, of course, the Stella Brittany, who is head of events at Tasty there. She's running the show and keeping these boys in check in London and Milan.
Is that on your Twitter, is it?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, and then
more.
Yeah. And here is Sharon and Tom as well. Sharon leading the charge on the EMEA front there. Yeah, it's look, producer Phil. And Sophie, is this the first time our viewer friends have seen Sophie? Indeed. Sophie, if you're watching, call out there. I saw you. You were brave. You tried to break into that crab. So did I. Tom as well. Well worth it. So that was last night.
Speaking of which, there is the crab. You can see why we had a little bit of tricky job in attacking that. Yes, that is the head. The head comes along with some liquid. And then the steak. Oh, the steak was good.
It's good, right? Oh, you got a picture. That's great.
Yeah, we had two of those.
I was too busy eating, so I didn't get a picture.
Some fish. We're feeding the 5,000 there.
Yeah, I didn't get any either. You hogged it, didn't you?
I'm pretty sure producer Phil did get some.
I did not get one either. I just saw it and then it disappeared.
Okay, so when I said feed the 5,000, then it was mainly feeding me.
Yeah.
And then there he is. The man that you are hopefully coming along to see this evening, Sosnoff, was eyeing up the bread at the end of the table. I think that was his favourite, the courgette bread.
Yeah, it was very good. We were very happy that there were two celiacs on the table, so they didn't touch the bread more for us. Lots of questions coming through because on my Twitter I had tons of these questions, and also the studio's asking, where's Bat? So Trader Cupcake Trader messaged overnight to say, did he go and do some sightseeing and left you guys to it? Someone else said, was Bat, gone to a sauna or something?
He went all the way to Harrods. His son is a big fan of caviar. Oh. So
posh.
they booked, a 15-year-old, a big fan of caviar, and they booked a lunch at Harrods at the caviar restaurant.
Yes, you do.
Only to get there and find out that they closed it a month ago.
Oh no!
So his poor son had been looking forward to this. So they made up for it at dinner last night. They got stuck into the meat at the end of the table. So that's right. So we had a good warm up last night. There was no aircon. So
no, and there was like a full-on barbecue thing. But guys, if you love grilled meat and you love that sort of food, Brat in Hackney was incredible. Lots of people on the chat this morning. Some of them asking whether you've got a trim. Did you get a trim?
I have indeed.
Ahead of
That's how special occasion it is.
Yeah, London event tonight and Milan. Please tell us on the chat, how many of you are we going to see tonight? That would be great.
Yeah, go on. Who's coming along? And what are you wearing? So we recognise you. And we run the other direction.
Please don't tap me like last year. I think it was Julian, and tapped me on the back and said, "Don't worry, Ange, I'm not Monkey Man."
Yes.
Shock of my life.
Good morning to Philly Financial there joining us. Give us an update, Philly, on what your thoughts are of this market at the moment. Steve Davies, Andrew McKelvey saying the Bitcoin Treasury bandwagon keeps rolling along. Certainly does. 3 companies making announcements this morning. Helium has raised 4 million sterling. And on it goes. Away from the numbers, Neil's in this evening.
Oh, fantastic, Neil.
I'll have the beer ready for you.
Come and say hello. That'd be great. I will be there welcoming everyone. So if you're there early, just look out for me as well.
That's right. So the doors open at 5, and then all the action opens at 6. But the bar will be open from 5 with my card behind it, which you're very welcome to help yourself to some tap water. I mean, sorry, a vino. Come and have a vino with the boys.
So it'd be molto interessante.
Absolutely.
Can we play it one more time?
But we need you to come along and drink a lot because UK retail sales today, my gosh, we're about to take a look at those in overnight action. I mean, these were terrible. Absolutely shocking. Let's have a look at the economic data that the guys are about to put up, and you'll see.
Here we go.
Not only did we have Japanese inflation overnight, but we had these UK retail sales coming month on month down 2.7%. That was against expected down 0.5. And then the year-on-year number, a negative 1.3 versus plus 1.7 expected. These are atrocious. Do not underestimate how bad these actually are. And it was a big drop in food sales. You had, I think, down 5% in food. And then also there was a slowdown in footfall. So the clothing retailers also saying that they've lost out. So that's moved the pound. The pound we've seen.
I've got the screen up if you want to take it. It's these figures to me, Rich, just is another nail in the coffin for retailers and those that don't have a strong online offering. We've already seen, the likes of Poundland, Marks and Spencer's, Boots all say they're, shuttering shops, and this is yet another sign that the UK economy and the consumers are, really suffering here.
But the share prices aren't. That's the
share
thing.
Prices aren't, yeah.
Tesco just going above £4 for the first time. As you can see there, £4. So, this is going to be a bit of a shock to the system. Nobody expected numbers to be this bad.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying the ones that don't have a strong online offering, Tesco has a strong online offering, right? Those that were slow to the mark, those that are like, M&S struggling to still kind of give another way for customers to buy their stuff is going to really, really struggle. And you're right there in saying that, retailers, there is a mixed landscape. Tesco, for one, beat expectations for first quarter sales. But all these retailers, the one thing that binds them together is they're still saying it's dire out there, right? It's intensely competitive. And most people are not buying the expensive, not needed items. They're sticking to groceries.
Well, apparently it's alcohol and cigarettes. So that's your real discretion. When you're in there and you look at that wine aisle and you see,
Speaking from experience.
Absolutely. It is. The rest of your shop is what, 30, 35, 40 quid? And then do you stick a bottle of wine on at the end or not? I've never bought a pack of cigarettes, but I imagine they're what, 12 quid, 15 quid, something like that?
It's really expensive, yeah. Probably. I don't know how anyone can afford to smoke. But maybe, if things get really bad, there's always we talked about this with Matt Arbour, saying that he was wondering whether that's why sin stocks might be back in vogue. Because in, bad times, you want some release, right?
Yeah, not today, though, by the looks of these figures. So, yeah, let's two-tier keyer straight in there. Well, you voted for Labour. This is what you get. Terrible data. So, yeah, but the question, have we suddenly hit the wall, or is it something to do with the 2 bank holidays in May? Is it something to do with the very changeable weather that we had? So, this is going to be interesting. But if this is what we've been waiting for all along, a sudden but marked shift in consumer behaviour, then it can't be that much of a surprise.
Do you think, Rich, we might need another print? Because the GfK one for the month of June, the consumer sentiment figure there was actually quite positive. So, do we need another print to kind of give us a bit more clarity?
Yeah, I think we'll hear more, won't we? It's a shame. John Lewis used to do monthly numbers, and John Lewis would be a great barometer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Away from the numbers, saying Ange, Club Card helps Tesco, even on the wine. So yeah, I do have a Club Card.
I do as well.
Yeah.
Great offers.
Yeah, and I get really sucked in. I have a hack. I know the different Tesco shops that have the biggest discounts on that Club Card. So morning team, Abby Fine chiming in. I'll miss you all tonight. My flights were cancelled.
Shame.
Where are you coming from, Abby Fine? Let us know. Hope you're not in the Middle East.
Yeah, you'll be in Israel.
Oh.
Shame. Right. I would also have a look at Next here, because Next has been a great performer recently. So we're at around the 124 level. Not quite as toppy as Tesco's is. But what else have we got in the old the basket of UK retail there?
What's M&S doing?
M&S 366, a little bit boring, mid-range. JD Sports 73.60, no let up for JD Sports there. This isn't going to help them either. But Sainsbury's, let's have a look at where Sainsbury's is relative. Yeah, pretty much at the highs as well. Having started May at £2.60, we're up at £2.86. So, yeah, going to be a very interesting open. Bit of action on the open today.
Yeah, and we'll have Bat as well on with me for the all sessions, which is going to be really exciting. One thing to note with retail, M&S and Morrison's as well, just keep an eye on those because, of course, they're still struggling under that cyber attack disruption. So they're still washing through.
Yeah. Right. So that was our meal last night that we've shown you with a fantastic photo that I was looking very happy.
I'd like to go back to that place, actually. And sit outside, because inside was just a bit too hot, wasn't it?
Very much so. But it did help. The beers went down all the better. Right, let's have a look at the front page of the Financial Times there. There is a very good article on the implosion of Iran's no war, no peace strategy. So that is a long piece, and it's also got a nice map in there where you've got the comparison between 2019 and 2025. So obviously a hugely depreciated power that Iran has had over that 6 years with, well, you've had the change, obviously, in Syria, the collapse of Assad's government regime, and then also the assassination of a lot of the leaders. So, yeah, greatly.
I find the US comments the most interesting in terms of timeline. Did that kind of like send your antenna going, the 2 weeks, right? It's very vague.
He's realised that he was
2 weeks.
absolutely full of shit.
Let's push it out there. 2 weeks. It could start anytime now, anytime 2 weeks. Then that time frame also ties in at the end of the 2 weeks with Independence Day, right? July 4th.
Yeah.
Is this an opportunity for him to kind of like do something in between and say, oh, this has been a victorious win? Or is it opening the door so that in 2 weeks, there's some sort of pressure for diplomatic
The 2 weeks is completely because he went way ahead of himself.
Yeah.
On Monday.
Overdid it, yeah.
Completely came up with, right, unconditional surrender that was never going to happen, and realised he had talked himself into starting World War III when he had absolutely nothing to back it up.
Yeah.
And they had no plan for regime change and no idea of the consequences that would happen. So it's, you can do it with tariffs, but you can't do it with, pressing the red button on something like that.
So that's why, Rich, I think this is a backing up strategy. I'm going to give, what he's actually saying is I'm going to give everyone else 2 weeks to try and find, some way of dealing with this whilst I tiptoe out of the room. Yes, it sounds like a poll, Phil. Taco poll? I hear a taco poll coming up. Well, is Trump's, is Trump going to tackle on the Middle East or, what do you think the next time?
Oh, he just did.
And the 2 week time frame, I mean, do we have that in there as to whether there will there be, what will happen thank you, Terence, what will happen at the end of 2 weeks? Intervention, no intervention? Yeah, only time will tell. Meanwhile, let's have a look at some of the things that could create some volatility here. Oil prices, obviously Brent's top, let's get that up here. Let's take a look at WTI, adding that to my workspace. Yeah, looking at the slow climb up, we are starting to see a bit of consolidation there. This is the daily chart, people, and it's around 73 there, dollars a barrel. Let's have a look at Brent crude as well, because Brent has topped at around $75 for the first time since January. No signs of disruption to output at the moment. Iran, of course, produces some 3.3 million barrels a day and exports around half that.
I'm surprised that's not come off more, actually. We've actually had gold come off more than we have oil. So, that's an interesting one.
Maybe they're all waiting for Friday, later today, because, foreign ministers are set to meet their Iranian counterparts later today.
The Europeans, yes. So German, French and UK foreign ministers meeting the Iranian foreign minister to try and hash something out. I'm not sure what exactly can be agreed there. That the attempt from Iran is to allow the IEAE back into do their little surveys and just check that, okay, that nuclear is only enriched to 66%. That's okay.
Yeah.
But we're past that, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we are past that. The other big thing is NATO. So they're looking at big spending plans. A lot of mood music out there saying that this is in the hope that to keep the alliance together and to keep Trump happy. So looking out for that as well. Expectation is NATO will boost its current spending plan 2% of GDP on traditional defense to 3.5%.
Great point from Poppy. Poppy saying everybody's long of gold and they're short of oil. So that's why you're seeing gold come off today more than you are oil. That's very good point on the flows.
Poppy, I love that you left out L as well. Ong of gold. Here we are whacking out gold for you. Not quite there yet, but still edging. Let's get a look at the daily for you. And there we are. It is still making that slow climb. Actually, it's quite a pivotal point now. We are touching the end of that line. I'm trying to see whether it'll bounce off, but 3,500 in view there for gold.
Right, let's have a look at the futures, how they set you off. Because, of course, the US was closed last night. We had moved down in futures, and then we've had a subsequent bounce. So it's, the US today will open pretty much roughly unchanged where we are at the moment. So remember that 43 basis points is just the futures move. FTSE looking up 40 basis points. That is real. Germany 65. We've covered oil, gold 33.45, even lower than where it was post-Fed.
Look at volatility. It's still around the 20 handle, right? So market's still relatively calm.
Yeah, there's still concern. Considering you've just had a 2-week hiatus, then, yeah, it's interesting. Because that puts us into the new contract, of course. Because now we'll go through June expiry without anything happening, in theory.
Bitcoin finally gaining a bit of momentum there, up 410 to bit.
It's stuck there, isn't it?
No,
It's
it's
stuck in that
really
105,000.
Yeah.
And
not been a good
then,
cycle.
yeah, pound dollar had a dip yesterday. And it was bouncing back today, but it has come off on those retail sales. And then you've got high-grade copper at 480, kind of stuck there as well, isn't it? So there's a lot of wait and sees going on.
A bit meh.
A bit meh. And then, of course, we're on expiry day. We are on triple witching. So if your screen goes a bit funny at 10 past 10 on your UK stocks, then that is why.
Yeah, we're off to the chart. Guess the stock very soon, but slam the like and subscribe button whilst we're at it, because if you like the show, please spread the word, like and subscribe, because then we can do more of this stuff for you, have more events, and do a lot more content that you find useful. The stock is coming up. Guess the stock. Just tell us. Thank you, Producer Phil. It's a US stock. It's on CFD this time. Thank you. You anticipated my next question.
So CFD, and it's a UK stock.
US.
US. Right, hang on. Let's see if we can guess it before he even puts it up. What does your gut tell you, Ange?
I'm going to be in his head. I'm going to be in his head.
Snapchat. Something like Boeing.
Ooh.
A Boeing.
What did Producer Phil talk about recently?
He likes his tech.
Yeah.
What will the situation be in the Middle East in 2 weeks' time? Only time will tell. 42%. The first time it's won a poll, I think.
Phil, were you in there answering your own poll so that only time will tell?
And then Friar Tuck. Yeah, that is a good point, actually. You know, is this 2 weeks just a chance to organise what the new regime would look like, what America wants to get its puppets in there,
yeah,
and see, what control it will have over potential democracy in the future.
Yeah, because you can't really get rid of rid of rulers if there's nothing to take its place.
Well, that's what he's realised in the last 48 hours.
Oops. Okay, I'm going to guess the US stock. I'm trying to read Producer Phil's mind. Netflix.
Right, you go Netflix. I'll go Abercrombie and Fitch. Did you get it?
Parky, straight off the mark there. Woo!
Beat me. I did not get that one.
Beat me too. I guessed Netflix. And yeah, I didn't get, that was before we threw up the chart, right? What did you guess? You guessed Boeing before you threw up the chart. We were trying to read producer Phil's mind.
Intel. Intel if it was $21, not 2,100. Right, we're almost there. We got 5 seconds. Andrew's about to ring the bell and open the London Stock Exchange. This morning, we are looking a little bit directly onto the retailers. So it's not my usual screen because I think the retailers are going to be where it's at this morning. I would like to sell some Tesco's. Right, we're out of some Tesco's there at 401.40. Next would be potential as well. Let's see if Sainsbury's gets hit.
Sainsbury's only down 0.2% at the moment, right? So not a huge amount there. What did you say, Phil? Which is moving? Let's take a look. Whilst Rich is doing that, we've got also Wizz Air in focus. Wizz Air, I believe, Phil, is up a quarter at the moment, 0.25% there. Mine's saying a different thing.
Right, so next up on the day, so I've had a little nibble on the short side at Next. I've had a little nibble on the short side on Tesco's. With those dreadful UK retail sales. I'm actually really surprised Tesco's is up on the day. And then, yeah, we've got Sainsbury's not really moving either. So just completely ignoring these figures. Marks and Spencer's, you've got down 70 basis points. And yeah, the mighty Greg's up 30. So let's go to our usual screen across in the UK and see what is the big movers. BP giving up all those gains from yesterday on the drop in oil. So let's get to that. Where are we?
Also, Rolls-Royce, securing deals for 142 aircraft engines there. Andrew McKilvey, if you're trading that space, check that out. Also, Hiscox raised to overweight at Barclays. Price target there, 1,400.
Right, but your story of the day is really BP and Shell coming off down 1.2, 1.5% on the back of that oil move. Who are the winners? The winners are Wetherspoons. That's maybe just a little bit of a wide spread on that, marking it up. I'd be surprised if on the back of the retail sales, the Wetherspoons are up 3. IAG, obviously a little bit of a relaxation in the troubles in the Middle East. That one responding up 2%, as is Carnival, as is EasyJet.
Also, don't forget, JD Wetherspoon and M&S. Well, M&S was slightly lower earlier on, but it does not have a good online offering, as we can tell from the cyber attacks and everything else as well. But the EasyJets coming back after being pounded earlier on in the week. Also checking out. Oof, if your screen might stop moving. Some of the names, like the banking names, Barclays, Lloyds as well, heading higher. HSBC also heading higher this session.
Miners doing all right. Anglo-American at 2030. That probably takes us on a chance to look at commodity world. What are we seeing in commodities? Let's go to our screen. Now, where's that gone on our commodity page?
If you want to come to my page, I've got the commodities up. We've got WTI down 0.5% there. We've got Brent crude as well down almost 8%. Looking like a similar picture. Gold down 0.75% there, and silver.
Yeah, silver's getting smashed, isn't it?
Yeah.
And platinum as well. Platinum has been the real performer over the past 2 weeks, but it is coming down along with the rest.
I hear Cam saying buy the dip. Just getting you across some of the AIM movers as well. We have quite a few prints out today on seed innovation. I think, is it you, Andrew, that said you look at this sometime? We're seeing that finals the portfolio value to about £8 million. It's got 3.4 million in cash. But really, let's take a look across the indices as a whole. It's looking like it's risk on at the moment.
Right, over in Europe, what's happening in Europa? We're seeing a bit of relief also in the airlines. Air France and Lufthansa up 1.5–2%. And then Ryanair up 1.4 as well. SocGen up 1.3 and ASML up 1.2. So on the negative side, who is losing ground in Europe? It's just those oil names. That's the only negative performers on the day. So yeah, clearly a lot of relief here on this Friday.
Yeah, which is great. It teases up nicely for tonight's event. The interesting thing too is a lot of the European movers are actually very volatile. Eutelsat, which was up around 5% after the French government was set to become its biggest shareholder, now losing a lot of that gain. TUI, I'm going to hit that up for you. TUI is up 3.8% there, after Barclays raised it to overweight from underweight. And we are also seeing, let's have a look at, if you're into the Heidelberger.
It's a Heidelberg.
I can't say the... Yes, with Rahel.
In Heidelberg, yeah.
Yes, I can't say the second word. You might be brave enough to. Druckmaschinen?
Yeah.
Drum roll.
Druckmaschinen.
There we are. Yes, Heidelberger Druckmaschinen shares up more than, now just under 3%, but it was higher, as high as 3.2% earlier on when we opened.
Now we've got Berkeley Group down 7. What is going on here? Set of numbers that we missed this morning.
Well, Berkeley did have a full year operating profit of 500 million. That was slightly beating the street there. So 500 million full year operating profit. Right.
So, yeah, getting absolutely smashed. Down 6%, Berkeley Group. So there you go. Pre-tax profit you've got on your screens there. The guidance for 27 likely to be similar to full year 26. And yeah, long-term target of return on equity above 15%. But not good enough, clearly. Where are they on the charts, Angeline? Let's have a look at this one. It has been steady around that £42 level. But this really taken it.
I wonder if it's something to do with the fact that they've named the current finance chief, Mr. Stern, as its new CEO, succeeding Rob Perns.
Oof, down 8.5 now.
I know, right?
Andrew McKelvey, what do you think of that one? Is that Berkeley Group one that you look at? Let us know in the chat there. And we'll see if we've got a comment from our friends over at Numis as well.
Just catching you up on the situation in the Middle East as well, and how it could potentially affect the airlines, especially the long-haul ones. Britain has updated its travel guidance to Lebanon, warning that those traveling to and from Beirut's airport may face disruptions, as we know from, was it Avi Fine, who now can't make tonight's event in London.
Yeah. Right, okay, so we've got Numis comment on Berkeley Group is the value of sales reservations taken in the period rose 5% with improving momentum as the year progressed. However, this still leaves reservations 30% lower than in full year 23. Consequently, the cash due on forward sales is down 18%. And that is the problem there. So Berkeley Group now down 8% on the back of those numbers. That's the worst performer today in the FTSE. You can see the rest there. We've got still BP down 1, Shell down 1, and some of the other home names there down 1% as well. Marks & Spencer's down 1% on those dreadful retail sales in the UK. Why did the consumer hit a wall in May?
Yeah, and it's interesting as well with the oil stocks there. They are down early this session, but just bear in mind that a lot of houses, especially Citigroup as well, has upgraded European energy stocks to neutral from underweight amid those rising geopolitical tensions.
Andrew McKelvey saying he doesn't follow Berkeley just as well because that's probably helped him dodge a bullet. We had a question earlier. SWC, how far do we think it can go? Well, I certainly didn't think it would be above £4. So that is now £4.20. Our good friends over at Smarter Web, having gone from 30 pence when Andrew Webley was on the show with us to £4.20 in about 2 months, less than 2 months now, 7 weeks ago. The stock has been absolutely monstrous, going from worth £40 million to over 1 billion market cap. Our guy, our director in the box, still has them. Not
mentioning any names. He's doing the victory lap in there.
Yeah, very proud of himself. He got in at 30 pence and he's kept them all the way. And he says he's never selling.
Yeah. So just a quick note, we got SR waiting in the wings to come on to tell us all about the week ahead and what to trade. But for now, European indices looking like it's a risk on at the moment this session, early in the session. The Stock 600 was set for its biggest weekly fall in 2 months as of Thursday's close. But now, looking at this, it might just dodge that.
And then stick around because afterwards we've got a real treat for you. It is Anthony Battista has just entered the building. So Bat's going to be joining us after and Issa. Stick around, go make yourself a coffee. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
Tasty Live's godfather of options, Tom Sosnoff, is grabbing his passport and taking this show international. He'll be joined by IG's Rich McDonald in London and Milan, along with special guests at each stop for an evening of live trading. It's fun, challenging and moves as fast as the market. Doors open at 5, with trading starting at 6. Come early and have a pint or glass of vino with the boys. It's totally free, but space is limited. Register at tastylive.com/events. Options just got molto interessante.
Do you like the sound of tax-free trading? Well, that's exactly what spread betting enables you to do. This tax-free way of trading lets you speculate on the price of over 17,000 financial instruments, like shares, indices, forex, and commodities, without actually owning them. With spread betting, you can benefit from both rising and falling prices, letting you find the perfect opportunity. So if you think the market's going up, you buy. If you think it's going down, then you can sell short. Not only is spread betting exempt from capital gains tax, but it's also commission-free. All you pay is the spread. With us, you're not alone. You're part of a wide community of traders that you can learn from. We've got the experts, the tools, and extensive educational resources to help you on your journey. If you're not quite ready to trade with real money, you can always give it a go on a demo account. Open an account today, join the conversation, and be inspired to make moves.
This is a huge moment for IG and a major milestone in the UK's crypto journey, with retail investors now able to buy, sell and hold 35 crypto assets with a grown-up business. Adoption is rapidly growing, and with UK crypto regulation gathering steam, we want to give existing and future investors a platform where they can trade crypto with clear and transparent fees with a provider already used by hundreds of thousands of retail investors. With the addition of crypto, our customers will enjoy a more streamlined investing experience, with IG now providing a one-stop shop for a wide range of assets. We're really excited to bring this crypto offer to the market.
Hey, trader friends, we're back. with Itzar to take us through the main tradable events in the week.
Yes. Not quite as exciting as what sounds like happened last night.
Oh my goodness, I didn't. Yeah, we were at Brat in Hackney. I showed our trader friends down the picture.
Beautiful restaurant.
The food was amazing. Like, I didn't know this place existed.
So good. Yeah, it's one of, like, that whole area has a bunch of amazing restaurants, but Brat is probably like the best.
So which one have you been to? Hackney, yeah.
The Hackney one's great. There's also in that area, there's Manteca.
There's another one.
Yeah.
And many others.
Yeah, Hackney in general has some amazing food.
Yeah.
And the event today is going to be quite near that area.
Yeah.
Because it's in the Dalston kind of Hackney area. So I think there are still some tickets left, crazily, right?
Yeah, there are some tickets left. So trader friends, if you're still wondering what should I do tonight, do come, because
we will both be there.
Yeah, we will both be there.
Yeah.
Come and tap us on the back, but just don't worry, I'm not Monkey Man, because that freaked me out last year. And then the best thing I heard last year was Andrew Duck was there. And then he said, he came over and said, Ange, I knew you came before I even saw you because I heard you laugh.
But just across the room.
Across the room. But come, because Rich's credit card will be behind the bar.
Critical, absolutely
very
critical.
yeah.
The other thing is, last time it was Tom like firing trades at Rich. I've never seen Rich as stressed.
Yeah.
It's like sitting on stage just processing a million trades.
And because I spend so much time with Rich every day, I know why he's stressed, because he and I are equally blind. And the venue last year, those of you,
It was quite dark. Yeah.
it was dark. It was like Pakistan dark. And I was thinking, how is he seeing? How is he seeing back there? And I think Britt eventually came with like some sort of light at the back.
Yeah.
But here you are. There are tickets still left. But the last time I checked, we were approaching.
Very few.
approaching-
It's super few left.
Yeah,
so
fast approaching.
bag them while they're
sold-out
still there.
territory.
Yeah, for sure, grab
Yeah.
them.
So
Right, because all the amazing US people like Tony are here today, we've shuffled around the order a little bit from what we normally do. So normally this is the last segment of Friday, which is the week ahead. Today we have a couple of things that we wanted to bring up.
Let's bring up the slide.
Hey, there you go. Three main things to think about. We have some US macro data that's coming next week. So we have the revision of Q1 GDP data. We have the May PCE data. We also have some consumer earnings. So we have FedEx and Nike, both of which have had a pretty rough year so far. Both are down more than 15% year to date. And then we obviously have the ongoing Iran-Israel crisis. There was obviously the Trump statements yesterday where he spoke about how he's going to give Iran essentially 2 weeks to come to the table and negotiate.
Yeah, what do you think of that 2-week timeline? We talked about this earlier, and I kind of think, my humble opinion is, he kind of went...
Are you tacoing
tacoing out the door, doing my little, moonwalk, but heading for the exit, and hopefully someone else will sort this out.
Well, if you pull up oil prices, I think you can see what like the market thinks. I think fundamentally,
Let's whack up WTI here.
yeah, some of the risk is gone, but actually like it's still pretty elevated. I just think fundamentally the whole situation is super tense. It's clear that the Straits of Hormuz are kind of at risk. And so I think while that's the case, I think we're going to see this kind of risk sentiment in the oil market, and that obviously might feed through to inflation, which is obviously a worry.
The other interesting thing is the fact that, this 2 weeks, it might take, that might be the time needed for talks to happen to see whether there is any sort of standby regime, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't take something out and then have nothing. That would be crazy. That's like Libya crazy.
It also is straight into the middle of the summer, a period that is like famously kind of a bit of silly season in markets.
Yeah.
And so I just don't know what uncertainty is going to materialize in the 2 weeks. Also, critically for my own portfolio, I'm going to be on holiday for the week that ends on the 7th of July. And so I'm concerned that where interesting stuff will happen, I'm just not going to be here.
Issa doesn't know, but we've already rotated him in for a holiday.
Yeah, so, oh my God, so when you were on holiday, they dialed you in to give an on-the-ground take.
Analysis.
Yeah, you were in Milan, right?
I was in Milan.
And you were giving a view of inflation rates of the price of Coke in Milan.
Right on the pulse, right? right there in Milan. So you are going to be in, tell our trader friends.
Mallorca. I'll be in Mallorca.
Yeah, so he'll take the pulse from there. We've got the Americans on board today. It's truly global Trade Live with IG.
Yeah. We have our global correspondents flying in around the world.
Soon it'll be like, we'll have more correspondents than CNBC or Bloomberg combined. Yeah.
But I think they're going down and we're going up.
Yeah,
so it will
exactly.
meet in the middle.
They've already, have you seen CNBC? They've changed up their opening call so that there's a bit of chit chat before they go straight to headlines.
What, just to fill some time?
Yeah.
There was a really famous statement a long time ago from Netflix, which was in their company strategy. And the strategy was, we become HBO faster than HBO becomes us. And I guess that's kind of how I'm thinking about news stuff, right?
Yeah. Everything's about, the authenticity.
Yeah.
And the brand right now. And lots of, you said Hormuz, and I had a grin there because it is all about Hormuz because, this is, it actually essentially connects 20% of total daily crude supply passes, right?
I think it's 20% of crude and 15% of natural gas.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously a fundamental issue. The other issue is it specifically connects Europe and a lot of Southeast Asia. And so I think it's partially why China's kind of slightly nervous looking at the situation in Iran. Iran has been a big supplier of oil to China. And so, yeah, I think just going back to some of the news stuff, I think that's going to be the big ongoing story over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But there are some other stuff going on.
Yeah.
I think we had earnings. The two major earnings that are left were towards the tail end of the earnings season and almost at the start of the next one. But we do have FedEx and we do have Nike, both of which are, in my view, really good indications of some of the consumer sentiment at the moment. I think Nike's been a particularly beaten up brand. Last quarter, they were 9% down on revenue quarter on quarter. This quarter, I think they're expecting double-digit reductions in revenue. What do you think of the situation in Nike? They've been totally battered over the last.
They have been battered, despite the McDonald's best efforts at talking about this whoosh.
Well, to be fair, Rich and I both own quite a few pairs of Nike. And so maybe we're just not trendy anymore.
It's all about, it's all about the, what's the, hawkers, right? And
on trainers.
On any of you, this is a poll.
I think New Balance is
New Balance coming back, right?
Back in, yeah.
Yeah, and so Asics, have you noticed as well, been really boosting.
But basically, I think this is all bad news for Nike.
Yeah. Nike, just getting you across this trader friends. Bigger Beers, welcome to the show. Why were you late, Bigger Beers? I was watching out for you. Nike.
You have an attendance list of all the regs.
In my head, right? I remember most things, so you guys watch out. I remember. Nike, Barclays cut the price target to 53 from 60. So
where are they trading at now?
At the chart, 59.
59.
Yeah.
Wow. So still a bit further down to go.
Yeah.
I mean, year to date it's down more than 15%. I think from highs it's down well more than 20%.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously a stock that's been beaten up. I think there will be a price at which it's a buy. I'm a bit of a.
Where do you think is a buy? Here, the low seen in April. What do you think?
So. Honestly, depends on what your time horizon is to hold. I fundamentally think the pain that Nike's going through, it's going to just bounce back from eventually.
Yeah.
It just depends on how patient you are. So I think, honestly, even now, I think this is a bit of a contrarian take, but sure, they're not trendy at the moment, but man, Nike is an institution, right? It's such
Yeah, but we
iconic
do you remember everyone said that about Nokia?
Yeah, but it's not Nokia. Is it? It's like one of the strongest brands in a space where brands have cycles. I don't know. It depends on what your time horizon is, but I think if your time horizon is very long, I think it's probably even a buy now. That being said, I do think it's going to be a period of continued pain for Nike until they really turn around some of the operations.
Yeah, so just on that note, catching the tailwind from what SR is saying, it's now at levels last seen in March, but also if you go back on a technical view here, the last time it was at these levels was March 2020, So
Actually, maybe it's a controversial tape.
Are you wearing Nikes today? I know Richard's wearing Nikes.
I'm actually not. I'm wearing one of my few non-Nike trainers. But I genuinely do think, I just think Nike's going to bounce back. I
know
think,
what you mean. I know what you mean. But at the moment,
they've changed management. They're making some difficult decisions.
They are.
I don't know. I think it's all a bit of an exaggerated story, but we'll see, I guess.
I hope you're right because, there are a heck of a lot of downgrades, not just Barclays, Morgan Stanley as well. Needham also cutting their price target on the stock. So it's
I don't know. It's just, this is a good example to me of where, like, sure, everyone is negative at the moment, but there must be a price, right, where it's a buy.
We need to
like
record
how
this for
close.
posterity, people.
I know, yeah. I'm gonna there's gonna be a clip of me in like 2 years' time.
Flashback.
Yeah, exactly.
Flashback. Remember when he said, now's a buy for Nike?
Yeah.
Or could it be that this is another Nokia? And the only reason I'm asking that is, so trader friends, if you want to trade Nike and you want to trade it without being like a long-term trader or a regime trader, watch Lululemon's results.
Yeah.
Every single time Lululemon comes out with
juggernaut,
bad results,
Yeah.
Nike falls. Yeah. So every time Lululemon comes out with good results, Nike gets a bit of a lift.
Why do you think there's such a close connection between those two?
Perhaps something to do with the fact that, Lululemon
Just
is...
the same consumer, I guess. Or...
Yeah, and Lululemon is considered like higher end, right?
Yeah.
And it's good stuff, but higher end.
Yeah, it's interesting. I also think, like, fundamentally, Lululemon and Nike are both kind of millennial brands.
Yeah.
And
do you know how targeted Lululemon's demographic is when they tell their marketing team to...
Is it, like, incredibly specific?
It's incredibly specific.
Yeah.
So it is...
You know what? Their work clothes are actually absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah. Frank Caberna is like...
he's obsessed with
he's
Lululemon.
obsessed. Don't give me a bonus, just give me Lululemon vouchers. And after he talked to me so much about it, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to try this out. But they long-lasting, but they're expensive.
They are
right?
expensive.
For what they are.
Yeah.
So the thing to remember is they're super specific.
Yeah.
And if I had to choose the two, I would choose Lululemon, not Nike, because they seem to have some sort of management chaos at the moment. Lululemon is so specific that...
Should we do like a kind of wager, which is like a year from now, if the year-on-year change in Lululemon is better than the year-on-year change in Nike, like if Nike is better,
you will buy me
you buy me a pair of Nikes.
Yeah.
And if Lululemon is better, I'll buy you. What's your favorite thing from Lululemon? What's your go-to?
I like their sports.
The gilet thing. Okay,
the
fine.
windbreaker
Deal.
thing.
Easy. Deal.
Give a shake on it.
Deal. I'm very confident. It's basically a pairs
From
trade.
today. Yeah, it is a pairs trade.
1 year pairs trade from today.
Bigger BS. Nikkei has a partnership, but I think they have delayed it. They've rolled something back with the Kim Kardashian deal. So check it out. Right. So
you're coming off strength. I think I've got a good chance of this.
Okay, well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Right, so what's up next on your list?
Right, sorry, yes, we were running through. So we spoke about Nike. I think FedEx is a similar story. Slightly weak earnings in the last quarter. I think this quarter is also expected to be a bit weak. Let's see where they land. We also have some US macro data. We have GDP revisions coming out next month, and we have the and we have the PCE data. PCE coming after slightly cooler CPI. I think we're expecting that number to be fairly cool. I think the reality is that where the Fed is at the moment, I don't think this data point is that important. I do think the June data will start to be important because the next meeting is at the end of July. So we'll get that data before the Fed makes their decisions. So I think from a macro side, it's a quiet week. There's almost nothing in Europe. From an earnings side, also kind of a quiet week, but we do have Nike and we do have FedEx. So I think all the big news will be about the Iran-Israel situation.
Yeah, I like FedEx too because it's got its finger in every pie.
I mean, the shipping, I think shipping costs is something that they're exposed to. Tariffs is something they're exposed to. But at the same time, they are one of the strongest indicators, maybe with the exception of some of the credit card companies like Visa and MasterCard. Like, they're one of the strongest indicators of the consumer. And I think it'll be a good indication of how a consumer's feeling, how much are they ordering stuff.
Boise's on your side. He wants a pair of Nikes too.
Yeah, I think exactly. I think a year. I think we're in good shape. I hope
you guys are right because I do like the Nike brand. I do.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, it's going to be interesting whether or not markets, really buy the whole kind of, inflation is going to be not too bad because JP and gang still, holding on to that data dependent, right?
Oh my God! Do you
Yeah.
want to have a look at the CME Fed Watch tool? It's fascinating. Like 7 members of the FOMC said that they don't expect any rate cuts at all this year. So I think we're starting to see, weirdly, a bit of divergence until the data kind of clarifies the situation. Yeah, like look at that.
I know.
So is this for July? Yeah. Exactly. This is the end of July date. If you go to December, just look at how broad that distribution is.
Yeah,
It's like 100 basis points. It's like
markets look really, really undecided there.
yeah. So I think, and this is what he said in the press conference, right, this week, which is fundamentally like the next, he thinks 2 to 3 months will give them a lot of information on the impact of tariffs, will give them a lot of information on the strength of the labor market. And so I think what we'll start to see is that this very wide distribution will start to like settle on an expectation, but at the moment it's still very wide, and we're not that far out. Well, that's 4 Fed meetings from now, and it's still very broad. So I think the data that will come in, not in the next week, but in the next 2 to 3 months, I think is going to be really critical to where they land.
And also what happens in the Middle East. It's also potentially hit inflation.
100%. And I think one of the bigger stories, like frankly, is that the market doesn't seem to care what the Fed's doing at the moment.
Yeah.
That's
a sideshow.
Yeah, well, the FOMC was like a total non-event. Markets barely reacted. Like, I think what we're seeing is it's event-driven movement, and it's just strength of the like juggernaut that is the U.S. consumer. It's all the earnings strength, and so like. I just think the reality is that unless the Fed does something quite drastic or the data gets materially worse, I just don't think the macro is driving that much.
No, yeah. It's all about Middle East and what happens on the terrorist.
I should get going because you need to spend all the time with Tony.
Well, producer Phil, what is the, Isar's asking, what is the plan? I know Tony came in early, but what is the plan? We got plenty to talk about.
There's loads to talk about today.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got tasty Q&A special coming up in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, trader friends, who sent all your questions in to me. I now know which of you are awake at 11 p.m.
When you're tweeting out.
Yeah, I'm like, look, coming back. And I was like, hey guys, you're on my first call list if I ever get abducted. I'm like, wow, this is great. But I have had 3 long nights.
Yeah.
Tonight being the 4th.
Yeah, and what I should say is, people still sign up to this event.
Yeah,
there are only a few tickets left.
And it's not often you get this opportunity because otherwise you have to fly to the States to watch them, and it's good fun. It's not long and it's super quick, and you get to drink off Rich's account. Marvin John saying, for info, Nike is in backwardation for most of the next 2 years. Marvin, you're with me. You're coming with me to Lululemon.
Yeah, let's see.
So Lululemon's marketing team, they have like
I'm not saying they're a bad company ad.
Female.
Yeah.
I think above 30.
Yeah.
Average salary per year, 6 figures.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this is what Nike's marketing team should do.
Yeah. No kids.
Oh, like dual income, no kids.
Yeah.
Do you know the term like dinkwad?
Yeah.
Dual income, no kid with a dog.
I know.
Was the peak COVID demographic.
Yeah. I wanna start a business that's dinkwap. So with a pet.
With a pet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna have to wrap because that. Get your questions in for that. Slam the like and subscribe button. And also tell us which side of that pairs trade are you on? Are you on?
Are you Lulu or are you Nike?
Are you Nike? So let us
Monkey
know.
Matt, I don't think I've ever worn a pair of Nikes. Well, buy one now. We have a year. We have a year to turn this around.
No, Monkey Man exercises in the morning. So buy Lululemons, Monkey Man. He exercises. Buy Lululemon. Send us questions for Tom Sosnoff and Bat because we will get them asked this morning.
Bring me the next shiny new thing. Bring me the next shiny new thing. Bring me the next shiny new thing. Bring me the next.
This is a huge moment for IG and a major milestone in the UK's crypto journey, with retail investors now able to buy, sell and hold 35 crypto assets with a grown-up business. Adoption is rapidly growing, and with UK crypto regulation gathering steam, we want to give existing and future investors a platform where they can trade crypto with clear and transparent fees with a provider already used by hundreds of thousands of retail investors. With the addition of crypto, our customers will enjoy a more streamlined investing experience, with IG now providing a one-stop shop for a wide range of assets. We're really excited to bring this crypto offer to the market.
If you're looking for flexible ways to trade financial markets, whether you're experienced or new to trading, you've come to the right place. CFDs let you speculate on the price of financial instruments like shares, indices, forex, and commodities without actually owning them. You can benefit from both rising and falling prices across 17,000 markets, letting you find the perfect opportunity. So if you think the market's going up, you buy. If you think it's going to go down, you sell. When trading CFDs, you're trading on leverage. Now, leverage lets you trade bigger positions with less money up front. So this increases your profits on your trades, but also remember your losses are also amplified. So be sure to manage your risk. With us, you're not alone. You're part of a wide community of traders that you can learn from. We've got the experts, the tools, and extensive educational resources to help you on your journey. If you're not quite ready to trade CFDs with real money, you can always give it a go on a demo account. Open an account today, join the conversation, and be inspired to make moves.
Watch Trade Live with IG weekdays from 7:30 a.m. on our brand new YouTube channel at Trade Live with IG.
As well as the live show on our new YouTube, you will find our full beginner's course to trading options, daily YouTube shorts of all the action that happens after the show's finished, and Trade of the Week and Psychology of Markets.
And don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive trading content.
Welcome back, everybody. So, look who is sitting to my left. It is Anthony Battista. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me, sir. Appreciate it, Rich.
They've got an American national anthem playing for you in the background.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
We roll out the red carpet, indeed.
You do. But I feel like it's my adopted nation here. I've really had a great time. I've only been here a handful of times, 3 or 4 times. And this time, by far, everybody has just been wonderful. I don't mean just here at the IG office. I just mean the whole country. I mean, from the cab drivers to the people in the hotel.
Apart from Harrods, who decided to shut a restaurant.
Except for Harrods, who decided to shut the restaurant that we had a reservation for, that they confirmed the reservation for, actually told us they're going to charge us £45 each if we don't come to the restaurant. We go to the restaurant doesn't. It's been closed for a month. So it must have been an all automated message. But it was okay. We made the best of it, and it was a good time.
Great. So, Bat, where do we even start? We had a great interview online that people can find the whole thing on YouTube. But trading since 1984.
Yeah, pretty close, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you got your own place on the exchange in 87.
That's correct. I bought my seat on the exchange the day of the crash. I tell the long version on our last interview, but I had a bid in lower, and when the market crashed in the 87 crash, they hit my bid. I tried to cancel it. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
That's it.
I think this was one of those times. I tried to cancel it, and they really never traded lower, maybe $10,000, $20,000 lower than that. I thought they were going to zero. So, and that was all the money I had. So it was a scary time. Scary time.
If honestly, if you guys like the movies about the industry, Wall Street, trading places, forget about it. Right? This guy's life is better than any of these movies, and
I've been lucky.
What are some of the most memorable moments? What sticks out as a trading occasion when you were just, holy
Yeah.
shit?
I would say after about, for me, I started with a limited amount of capital. I didn't have anybody, I traded my own money all the time. I started with $5,000, and I think a lot of people out there, have similar amount of accounts. But I was a market maker on the floor of the exchange, so I was taking the other side of everybody else's trades.
Yeah.
And I think at one point I had what we call an out trade, which are non-existent now, especially with electronic trading. It's it's beautiful because every time you make a trade, it's absolute. It's there. It's in your activity statement, and there's no changing it. But back in the day, we were writing everything down. And I had an out trade that basically busted me out. I thought I did something with a gentleman who stood very close to me, closer than you are right now. And
Wow.
he thought he was doing the opposite thing, and it was about $30,000, which, one investor's floor is another investor's ceiling. I had only been trading for about 2 or 3 months. That was about everything I had. So I thought I was busted out on a mistake, and I thought, moving from Brooklyn to Chicago and leaving everything that, it was done by, my whole career was done because of a mistake. And that was probably the scariest time for me.
I bet.
Yeah.
And then on the atmosphere on the floor.
Yeah.
Just a
Awesome.
boys club.
Yeah. I've heard other traders say it was like college with money.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good description of it. Yeah, it was great. The camaraderie. Even though you weren't, drawing your sword or jousting or something like that, felt like it with every trade that you were jousting the person. And, and it's funny because I didn't want the other person to lose money. No. Not because I'm kind or something like that. I just wanted to make money. So if I'm doing something that makes me money, that makes you money, it's a wonderful thing. Even the investor, remember something, as a independent market maker on the floor of the exchange, you want every customer, and that's who you're talking to here today. You're talking to the customer. We wanted every customer to make money. Mm-hmm. Why? Because if they make money, they'll come back and trade. If they come back and trade, I get to make money.
Yeah.
So every trade, I want it to be a fair price for the customer and a fair price for me. And now with markets that are, in the US at least, 1 penny wide, the only thing that's missing is how to learn the strategy. So learn a strategy that makes you profitable for the assumption that you have in the market.
Yeah.
And give yourself a probability of success that's over 50%. You put yourself in a winning place.
And if we go back to late 80s, early 90s, what was the actual process? You saw the market move.
Yeah.
You had a bit of a feeling, and then.
Sure. I mean, a little bit different on the floor. I think when I left the options exchange or stock exchange, if people are more familiar with that, you kind of miss the noise and the background noise. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we have volume on the trading platform, is to hear those dings, to get you going, because you want to know, you want to feel something happening. And I think when I was first left the floor and I was sitting at home and I'm in my office with the door closed and I have a little bit of memorabilia hanging around the walls, you start, you're left with your own demons. You know what I mean? You feel all alone. I don't know if I liked me that much. You know what I mean? I want to be alone with me.
Take all the mirrors off the wall.
Yeah, exactly. So I missed that. So I missed the guys and gals, and I'll tell you something. I mean, there was maybe a handful of women on the floor, maybe a dozen out of 300-400 people in the pit that I was in. They were some of the best traders. I mean, yeah, they were just better than us at most times.
And what actually happens? So you've got slips in your hand, and then you spot somebody you want to trade with?
Yeah, so it's organized chaos. I mean, it's best to see some of the older films. I mean, even the funny things like Trading Places. It's an old film comedy with Eddie Murphy in it and stuff. And they kind of see somebody yelling, "Oh, I'll do 2 of those. This is 2, and this is 20. So if I'm buying, I have my hand in. If I'm selling, I have my hand out. That's how it goes. So if I want to do 22, if I was selling 22, you would have to mirror me and go buying 22.
Right.
Or you say, oh, no, I only want to buy 15.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or this is 16, this is 1, this is 6. So you make these
different language.
Yeah, basically a whole different language. So you and that's what I mean. You have some, there's some room for error there. You know what I mean? I know you're going to have Tom on later. He was the worst with hand signals. I mean, first of all, he doesn't have the dexterity that you need. You know what I mean? He can't really move his fingers right. So it was always a problem with Tom. Yeah, you had to double check. With him. But I missed that camaraderie. And if you watch our show, the ribbing of everybody. If somebody had a big nose and you made fun of their nose, you did not, if you were the person with the big nose, you did not acknowledge that it bothered you.
No.
Because if it did, you'd be known as like Nicky No Nose, even if your name was John Smith. You know what I mean? It didn't matter. That kind of thing. So it was a lot of fun. So I miss.
It's easy if you're called the Batman.
I got lucky. My last name is Battista, and when you go on the floor of the exchange, they used to give you up to 4 letters. Now, when I got there, they only gave you 3 letters, and the first 3 letters of my name was B-A-T, so I tried Bat, and I didn't really think about the ramifications of it later on.
Okay.
But yeah, everybody called me Batman from basically that day on. So it's just easier than yelling, your name, in a pit. Somebody says Batman, it works out really well. So.
And so you mentioned about Soz there and his trading skills.
Yes.
Now the two of you sit across the desk from each other, sit across the studio.
Yes.
Day in, day out.
Yes.
And you both run a book on Tasty.
Yeah, for lack of a better words, we both do our own trading. He can't do more than one thing at a time. So when he trades, all the trades that he makes, I send them out to all of our people on the follow page, which is free at Tasty Trade. Anybody who has a Tasty Trade account can see them. I push them out. We call it push it out for him. So I get to see everything he does.
Yeah.
He doesn't get to see anything I do. So when we have my follow page too. So a lot of times I'll get to tease him about his bad trades, because who cares about the winners, right? They take care of themselves. Yeah, this is a carp. There's a carp. Yeah, it's a little fish. Yeah, he's a carp. So we have a lot of fun like that. So I have a little bit of an inside track more than he does. So it makes it a little bit easier for me to make fun of him.
And we have your watch list up here.
Oh, yes, you do.
So why don't we run through as if this is a Tasty show? Give us your feeling of the market just now and what's going on.
Yeah, so the first thing I have up there are the E-mini S&Ps /ES, and they're trading 60.24 right there. They're down about 10.5 points, or we call them handles. And that gives you see the percentage change to the right of that. So basically, it looks like the market's a little bit unchanged, maybe slightly weaker here. You got the E-mini S&Ps, NASDAQ, Russell, Dow, and then volatility. I think volatility /VX is probably one of the more overlooked indicators for the market. Everybody talks about VIX, which is the volatility index, the fear index. Those are the futures on VIX, and they're more of a daily indicator of what volatility is doing.
Okay.
So volatility right now is up about 1.5%, which is a significant move relative to how much the market's down. Like I said, I felt like the market's basically unchanged, it's slightly lower.
Yeah.
And that's indicative because if you looked at last night, even the S&Ps were down about 4 or 5 times as much as they are right now, with all the news that was coming out, out of the White House and every place else. So. And
then you talk about in handles more than percent, don't you?
We do. I've tried to. Customers like percentages, so I like to incorporate both of them. Like I'll say the change and the percentage, just to get them used to what I like to look at and me used to what they like to look at.
Yeah.
And maybe we can come to a. That's the compromise, right? You come to a compromise. So we talk more about handles. But if you're new to trading, and I said we're down 10 handles, or like when I just spoke a moment ago, I said 10 handles or 10 points. So you go, oh, okay, now I know what a handle is. It's a point, because you might think of it as a point as a newer trader. So we're down 10 points. What does that mean? Like without a percentage, and I think this is where the customer's correct. Is 10 a lot or is 10 a little? And you see it's less than 1/8 of a percentage point. You say, all right, so 10's a little. Yeah. Volatility up 1. Well, now it's only up 1%, but 1 or 1.5%. You say, oh, that's up a little bit more than the market just being unchanged. So what happened last night? I would say market was probably weaker and volatility was probably higher, just by looking at those two indices, not knowing what happened last night.
What kind of level on volatility gets your blood going?
This is it. Like around 20.
Right.
Anywhere between 20 and 25, and we're 21 right now, 21.05.
And that's probably changed over the years, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, listen, during the crash, they really didn't even have a volatility index, but it was, closer to 100 at that time. You know what I mean? So it was a lot different. But 20 to 25 is probably nirvana for most traders. Great for premium sellers like myself.
Yeah.
You get enough movement for premium buyers.
16 just doesn't give us anything, does
I
it?
remember when it was 9, so that's tough for premium sellers. It's tough for everybody, premium buyers, it's just tougher because you don't get a lot of movement and so much complacency.
Yeah.
So in the 20 handle is pretty good. It's the Goldilocks, I think. So right now's the time.
Okay. And then we've got, we move on to some of the commodities as well.
I'm the world's worst commodity trader.
Right.
Tom's second worst. So him on, don't listen to
He
him
backs
either.
you up.
Yeah. And then you got the notes and Bitcoin, Ethereum, and as we go down, oil. See, like commodities for me, they fall out and in of favor pretty quickly. Oil's the big one right now. So oil's been moving around a lot. Huge volatility, but big product.
Yeah.
For retail investors, even the options on oil, big product. It's 10 times the size of an equity. So.
I get killed on oil time after time, whether it's puts, calls, whatever way I'm trading.
It's too big of a product for retail investors, for most people's account. So you want to be spread in oil. You want to have a call spread or a put spread, something that's spread off, diagonal spread one month against another. But you definitely want to be, I think you want to be spread in oil. If you want to trade the futures, you could trade the micro futures, which are 10 times smaller than that big /CL future. And that brings it down to like 100 shares of stock instead of 1,000 shares of stock, or maybe a little bit more in oil. So, when you're trading, you might trade 100 or 200 shares of stock or the equivalent of that in an option trade. When you do one oil future, you're doing 10 times that amount. Yeah. And it's just too big for most retail investors. I think that's what shakes you out. Tom came up with a saying, and I'll let you speak, I apologize. You never know how big small really is. You really have to keep it small. You never make enough money. You're too small when it's going well. Yeah. And then you're too big when it's going bad, even with the same size.
Great. We can take that chart down there. Thanks, guys. And then let's move on to single stocks. Then, what over the years, what's been your favorite one? What's your lucky stock to trade?
I've had some pretty good success. Listen, my time frame is usually like a month or two. So, I don't marry, positions. I try not to. It's not a long-term thing for me. Tesla's had some good volatility lately. I've been doing okay in there. Reddit's been some good volatility. I've been trading good in there. I got lucky in some oil option trades that I've had, which has been good in there. But it falls in and out of favor.
And it's more, well, the IV rank is obviously very important.
Yes.
And do you search sometimes by IV rank and just...
I do.
Okay.
So even on that list that you had up there, I don't have a lot of stocks in there, but I'll go to the high option volume list. I mean, I'm an option trader. If you're a futures trader, you look at the futures. If you're an option trader, you look at the options. So we have a list called the high option volume list, and I will just click the top of the button there and at the top of the page there, and it puts them in descending or ascending order, whatever you like to look at, and I go from there. We have another little indicator called IVX 5-day change. And what that'll tell you is what volatility has done over the last 5 days in that particular product. So if I have a high IV rank, I like to sell premium, so I want to sell it when the IV rank is high. And the IVX 5-day change has also ticked up. I feel like I'm catching it on the way up, and I'm looking for that to revert down. From our research, we've found that volatility reverts back to the mean faster than the stock price. So if I could find volatility elevated and I can trade it small enough where I can kind of last through the volatility expansion, I feel like I put myself in a winning.
And that 5 day is quite a new thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Been around for a little while. I haven't when I was trading as an independent market maker, I never looked at it. But I think as a retail investor, that's what I am now. I think it's really important. So for me,
king of the retail investors.
I don't know about that, but I don't mind them following me every once in a while. Sure, and I follow them. I get great ideas from people writing us in and stuff. You'd be surprised. Tom has always, he's the pioneer of this, challenging the retail investor, and I think you'd be surprised at how brilliant the retail investor is. They know their stuff. They're just not confident enough sometime to do what they want to do. And if they see somebody else with experience in the field saying, hey, that's a great idea, you know, if you have confidence, you play better, whether it's a sport or trading or at work. You know, if you're sheepish when you come to work or you're worried about what your superiors, you know, thinking about you and stuff like that, you don't perform well. But if you think you're the king of the world, you know, you perform. And I think that's what it comes down to. It all comes down to confidence.
Is we actually...
You got a good Learn Center, I saw. You got about eight or 10 videos on there already for a new trader, a new investor.
That's it. Our beginner's guide to options.
Yeah.
So we're going to carry on with that. Sahil over in Chicago writes us these fantastic market measures.
Good.
And yeah, we've got a new video editor on the way. So
you got to get them over 100. You got to get them in triple digits, because you'd be surprised. Like, we always think about, like, when we would do these ourselves when we first started Tasty Trade, you know, you repeat some of the same things. You know, how much can you say about, you know, what a call is, what a put is?
Yeah.
But it hits people differently. Like, I remember a long, long time ago, I didn't come up with it, somebody else came up with it, you know, when you buy a call, it's like a phone, you know, you're calling up somebody. And when you buy a put, you're putting down the phone. That's when we had landlines, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not anymore, now you just click a button, right? Yeah. So call up, put down. Oh, wow, if I buy a put, I want the stock to go down. If I buy a call, I want the stock to go up. If I do the opposite, I want it to do the opposite. And that hit with some people.
Yeah.
And I had been telling people what a call option was, you know, for 5 years, they weren't getting it. So
yeah.
It's all the way somebody perceives it.
We've so one thing that made me realize how advanced our I was going to call them guests, our viewers are. They started a Discord channel. So now we've got the chat going on, as you can see in front of us.
Yeah.
During the show, but then a Discord channel afterwards. So it's like an after hours. And the amount of ideas going through there is absolutely incredible. They're you know, really know what they're talking about.
So that's where you're getting these good questions from. Here, I thought you were brilliant. You were getting it from the chat. I didn't see that. I saw one person say, you know, can you see Tom's trade in the UK? I mean, you can see it on the Tasty Trade platform if you sign up for that. And the platform's free. I don't even think you have to fund it. You can get all the follow page and everything in there. Sure. Yeah, for the world to see.
Now, give us an idea. So the Tasty Studio. Is there a funny moment that you remember that you've just been?
Sure. When we first started a long time ago, I'm talking the first 2 or 3, we've been doing almost 15 years now, 14 years and change. I went out for dinner, and I think I had Greek food. I think it was bad tzatziki, like the white sauce. I think there was something wrong with it, but, you know, me being me, I ate it all. Yeah. And the next day I came in, and I was just sick, you know what I mean? I'm just sick. And we were talking, and we have it on video. I'm sure the Chicago team could find it for you someday to show it to you. But I just said, you know, in the middle of we're talking, I said, Tom, we got to take a break. He goes, no, we're not taking a break. You know, like he's watching the clock. You know, no, Tom, we got to take a break. We got to take a break. And before we could take a break, I pick up the pail that was next to me, and I lean over. You don't see too much. You don't see anything really, but I mean, you can just hear me. Yeah. That's not the funny story. The funny story is, you know, I'm laying in the fetal position, you know, in the next room, and Tom comes out and says, "Are you ready to go back in? We're, you know, break's almost over." And I was like, "No, I'm not ready."
Are you kidding me?
But 15 minutes later, after I cleaned up a little bit, I was back on the show and being sick. So that was kind of
the professional.
Yeah. Well, I know I would have gone home if it was up to me. It was Tom that said, you know, you got to get back in there, man. You know, we got a show to do. So.
Right, speaking of the devil, he's in here next. Tom Sosnoff coming up. Tony, quite a few of the viewers coming along tonight.
Oh, that would be awesome. I'd love to see you guys. I think the doors open at 5. Is that correct? Yeah, I'd love to see you guys. I know we have a few more seats. It'd be great to have you. We kind of talk around for about an hour beforehand, and then we go for trading for a couple hours and talk afterwards for a half hour, an hour, or something like that. Have a good time. It's a great show. Free, so you know you get what you pay for. Hopefully we'll overperform.
Good stuff, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Appreciate
Absolute
it.
pleasure to have you. Tom Sosnoff coming up next with all sessions open. What are these US stocks going to do after a day's rest? Find out in 2 minutes.
Welcome to the exciting world of options trading. If you're looking to add a new dimension to your trading strategy, you're in the right place. Options trading offers unique benefits that can elevate your investing game. With options, you can protect your portfolio against market downturns, essentially creating an insurance policy for your investments. Now, what sets us apart is our commitment to your success. We provide extensive educational content to help you understand options trading inside and out. And with our 24-hour servicing, support is always just a call away. But that's not all. Options also allow you to generate income from your existing positions. Strategies like covered calls let you profit even when your stocks aren't making big moves. Options also shine when the market isn't following a clear direction, whether prices are rising, falling, or staying flat. There's always an option strategy you can use to potentially benefit. Now, we offer two ways to trade options: listed options for US shares, ETFs and futures, and over-the-counter options through spread bets and CFDs. Both types give you the ability to take various market positions. So, ready to explore the potential of options trading? Well, open an account today and take your first steps into this dynamic market. Remember, while options trading can be rewarding, it comes with risks. Always trade within your means and never risk more than you can afford to lose.
Tasty Live's godfather of options, Tom Sosnoff, is grabbing his passport and taking this show international. He'll be joined by IG's Rich McDonald in London and Milan, along with special guests at each stop for an evening of live trading. It's fun, challenging and moves as fast as the market. Doors open at 5, with trading starting at 6. Come early and have a pint or glass of vino with the boys. It's totally free, but space is limited. Register at tastylive.com/events. Options just got molto interessante.
Watch Trade Live with IG weekdays from 7:30 a.m. on our brand new YouTube channel at Trade Live with IG.
As well as the live show on our new YouTube, you will find our full beginner's course to trading options, daily YouTube shorts of all the action that happens after the show is finished, and Trade of the Week and Psychology of Markets.
And don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive trading content.
Hey, 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 trader fans, welcome back to the show with myself and the very famous Tom Sosnoff here, who's traveled all the way from Chicago to be with us. Loads of people here coming to the event tonight.
Excited.
You hear the American anthem playing in the background?
I do not.
This is the kind of
Not a good time to play the American anthem right now.
Where loads of people on the chat going, hey Tom, great to have you on. We even have people from your last trip.
That's awesome.
Yeah, from Birmingham, who are coming. Let's quickly check on the all sessions first, because this is something that is a USP here. Basically, you can take a position on US stocks way before the cash open. So just checking out and zooming in. Do you want to read us through the winners list?
So you think with my 10-year-old Lasix that I can read that screen?
You laser 2 eyes, right? Not just one. We checked that out yesterday.
No, 2 eyes.
Yeah.
2 eyes.
So yes, you can.
I mean, I have I always joke with Tony and say I have, perfect vision, but I'm not actually sure that my perfect vision can read your screens. But it's I'm not used to the 3 a.m. This is when
You're still asleep.
Well, of course, yeah. I get up at 4 a.m., so this is I still have an hour to sleep in the U.S. But this is when they kind of open up the initial indications and some of the ETNs, some of the over-the-counter markets. This is not, and these are not exchange markets.
Yes, no.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
These are market makers basically posting their markets on various OTC exchanges and private exchanges and stuff like that.
Totally. And let's just get, I'll talk you through some of the sessions, all sessions gainers here. So we've got names like Riot Blockchain, we've got Novavax as well, up slightly there. Novo Nordisk coming back after a bit of a down week so far. Lots of volatility there. And it is triple witching, of course, today as well.
Yeah, we usually, on the overnight session, we usually actually just watch the futures. So most active traders, unless you have a position on an individual stock, you're really not going to look at 3 a.m. stock prices. You're going to kind of look at the overnight futures, because I would say 90% of the money flow is into the futures markets overnight, and mostly ES, the S&P 500.
Yeah. And taking a look at the losers list as well, was at JD.com. Lots of the consumer names are down. Pintorso, PDD Holdings also down 8% there. I think you traded Alibaba and perhaps
I trade all the stocks you have on that board there. I trade virtually just about every one of them.
Any tips on what you're going to be trading tonight?
Oh, I mean, tips?
Yeah, like
we're going to do about...
you said 40 trades?
At least. We've only done this show in the U.S., this new show with Tony, one time. And we traded about 40 different underlines. So it was a lot. It was a little much. It was a lot. But we did about...
I think you almost broke Rich's eyes because he was there and his fingers. He was there punching away like a...
Yeah, well, now he's 6 months. He's got 6 months more practice, so he's going to be good. But we're going to do probably about 20 different futures and about 20 to 25 different stocks. So we like to mix it up with half, because that gives you like true non-correlated like fun. And so we're going to do, S&Ps, and right now the kind of the hot futures would be crude oil, obviously. Gold's moving big overnight. Crude oil's been moving big the last week. Silver moved huge last night. S&Ps, NASDAQ, Russell, bonds. We have a big position in bonds, so we're going to play all that stuff.
Nice, nice. Abby Fine chiming in on the chat because his flight, he was meant to come tonight.
Yeah.
And his flight's been delayed because of the Middle East.
Well, then we'll delay the show.
Oh, did you hear that? Abby Fine said delay the show. Really
I'm
hoping,
so bummed.
saying really hoping tonight's event will be recorded.
It's not.
But we can. Producer Phil is in my ear going, and I know that we have the tech available.
Yeah, so let me tell you why we don't record our live events.
Okay.
It's kind of a funky thing, but in the world of finance, when you do something live, it's pretty much like almost protected by free speech.
Right.
But from a regulatory standpoint, but when you do something recorded, it's considered kind of marketing.
Got it.
And then, even though you're obviously not marketing, we're not charged for anything, any of that kind of stuff, and it's our money and all that, it's just has a different regulatory risk. And so that's the reason we don't record our live shows. Like, we like to have fun, and we don't want to necessarily have
He doesn't want to hold back, is what he's saying.
I don't want to have our legal and compliance teams listen in.
And I get that, because,
I want to have some fun with the audience. I want to have some fun with all the trades, and I don't want it to be a marketing piece. So it's kind of hardcore. I'm bummed. I read this morning that a lot of flights to the Middle East are...
And Avi, I think, is in Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv?
Let us know if you're in Tel Aviv,
That's bummer. Because a lot of flights are, just delayed or canceled or whatever. And I understand it.
Yeah. So, trader friends, let us know who else have questions. And I think Bigger Beers is coming as well. No, Away from the Numbers is coming later on this evening.
The only thing I'm not going to accept is somebody wrote me an email last night. They go, Tom, I'm bummed I can't make it tonight. I'm like, why? And because I was just messing. And he goes, it's too hot in London. And I go, that's not an excuse.
Not good. No, we ate at that amazing restaurant.
Yeah.
Tom ordered amazing food, but it was hot, wasn't it?
It was hot. But you know what? We got out last night. It's nice today.
Yeah.
It's like 80 degrees. It's beautiful.
It's fantastic. So we have loads of questions, because when I was on the cab back last night at the Uber, I was like, oh my goodness, so many. You guys who trade options do not sleep, I've decided. Do not sleep, which is...
I don't sleep, but for lots of reasons. A, I'm getting old. I got to go to the bathroom. I have issues. No, I don't really sleep much anyway. I never have.
Wow. So, you guys are going to be on my first call list if I ever get abducted, because one of you will pick up my email
for sure.
Immediately. So, are we ready? Into the Q&A sting right now. Let's do this. Right, here we are. So, hit us up with our first question, our special tasty Q&A with Tom Sosnoff. Right, the first question is from one of our loyal traders and also one of our first Trade Live with IG fans here. My question for Sosnoff: given you love markets and trading, how on earth did you find time to build a business, or two actually?
Yeah, actually, Tasty is our third business. First, we built a prop business, then we built Thinkorswim, then we built Tasty. It's kind of weird, but since I'm in the same business, I always made fun of, or I always had fun with the idea that when I was trading, I was actually beta testing at the same time.
Nice.
So I've been using our software that we built, first Thinkorswim and now Tasty, exclusively since the day we started building it. And so what that means is, you kind of know every nook and cranny to the platform. So it's not really like work. But the other parts of it, sure. We do a lot of traveling and we promote our business and things like that. But you know what, Andrew, it's kind of like when you're building something that you love the space, it's almost not like work, even though I know it is. It kind of feels good.
Yeah. And you're also ironing out the bugs along the way, right? You're kind of seeing what works, what doesn't work.
Well, I'll tell you the crazy thing. In most business, in a lot of, not most businesses, but a lot of businesses, sometimes the CEO, especially in the world of finance, doesn't even trade. Like I don't know another brokerage firm CEO that actually trades. I don't know another brokerage firm CEO that actually uses their own software. I love to tell. Can I tell you a story?
Go on then.
A fun one. I was listening to a speech once by Ben Bernanke. He was chairman of he had been chairman of the Fed and he just retired. And he was giving a speech to a bunch of high frequency traders. And at the end of the speech, this is Ben Bernanke, so at the end of the speech, you got to ask questions electronically from the room. So on your table, it had an iPad. And on the iPad, you could ask Ben Bernanke a question. So everybody's like, don't do it, Tom. Don't ask a question. I'm like, I got to ask one. I got to do it. I got to ask one question. So I said, what do you think about bonds? What do you think bonds are going to do next? Now, this I'm asking to the chairman of the Fed, or that he had just left the Fed. And he saw the question. He goes, somebody just asked, what do I think about the bond market? And he looked at the crowd and he goes, I leave that to my investment advisor at Merrill Lynch.
No.
And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
No, he actually said that?
And I'm like, you're Ben Bernanke, okay? You should push a button and do whatever you want to do on your own platform. What do you need somebody else telling you what to do? Anyway, my point is that even the chairman of the Fed doesn't kind of do his own thing. And so I think that if the Fed chairman did his own thing, they might understand how the markets work better. Yeah. I've always argued that politicians
should all trade.
Should all trade.
Yeah.
And everybody says, no, it's a conflict of interest, it's all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think what it does is it teaches them how financial markets work, teaches market structure, teaches risk. And so anyway, but the answer to Andrew's question is, it's a love of the game clause.
Yeah. Bernanke, I was gutted I didn't manage to meet him in Davos, but I did manage to meet the late Paul Volcker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so that shows you my age now. But Volcker's very, very interesting, very tall, and he talked a great deal about how central bankers should throw sand into the wheels of the economy so it just doesn't overheat. That was his view, but also very controversial. Very controversial.
We have a lot of controversy in the U.S. right now because Trump was calling Jay Powell names. Yeah, and so
what was the latest one? Stupid.
Yeah,
that's the latest one.
If you've ever, whatever you think about Jay Powell, he's not stupid.
Let's hit up the next question. We've got another one from Julian, who actually came to last year's event.
Yes.
Can we see Tom's trades in the UK?
Yeah. Hey, Julian. I think, Julian, I took Julian to the baseball game a couple of years ago when we went. It was great. Yeah.
Don't try and avoid the question. Yeah. You're not answering.
Can you see Tom's trades?
Can we see in the UK?
Okay. So here's the deal.
Julian, I got your back.
If you're there, yes. If you're not there, no.
Get on the plane now.
And there's a lot of reasons for it, but what we did is we found a way to be able to send out all the trades to on a request basis. Request only, for people that were there.
Okay, cool. Got that, Gillian? Right, we got long list. Abby, fine, I've seen yours. We'll get to that next, but let's hit up the next question on the slide. Adam Deleuze, another one of our traders, and he is a higher net worth trader.
Adam.
Tom, with the rise of zero-day options, more retail access to complex products, stories like Mark Anderson from your Rising Star series, where do you see the biggest opportunities and risks for the next wave of traders? And how is Tasty Live adapting to support that evolution responsibly?
I mean, any good financial service firm, any brokerage firm, their responsibility is to offer all products. It is not our job to tell you, hey, this is a better product than something. You know, liquidity-wise, you can make your own judgment. And if things are liquid, it's not our role to say, hey, you should trade this product over this product over this product. But we have an obligation to essentially offer every product and that we can, and every strategy that we can to every account. This has nothing to do with your account size. This has nothing to do with your net worth. This has nothing to do with, you could be a big trader, small trader, anybody. We have an obligation to make sure that anybody can trade any product using any strategy that they want to. Now, one of the things that we try to do is if something has no liquidity, then we're very protective of our customers. We don't want them getting ripped off. But if something is liquid, you know, you'll have to use your own judgment based on, you know, whatever the exchange fees are, whatever, you know, that stuff we can't factor in. But as long as the products are liquid, as long as they're centrally cleared, as long as they're cleared, and as long as we think the markets are fair, of course, we'll list everything.
Cool. Right.
And that generation, Dan, I'm sorry, to finalize, to finish the question, the next generation, we are already preparing for it. Like, there's no question in my mind that we're going to be heading towards, you know, more tokenization, a lot more globalization, and a lot more digitization over time. So you're going to be able to trade, you know, hopefully, you know, stocks in different countries using a single currency. I think the whole currency side with stablecoins and different currency conversion opportunities is all going to improve. So customers in the UK can trade US products without currency risk and that kind of stuff.
Incredible. And over here at IG, there's been a long development team already working on 24/7.
Yeah, we hope to have a lot of the currency solutions in place by the end of Q3 this year. And, you know, obviously IG basically already offers every product globally. What we have to do is tie it in to a single platform.
Cool. Let's bring up the next slide, people, from Abby Fine on the Tasty platform. How can I track my performance P&L on a position over time and after much rolling up and down and out?
That's a great question, Avi. And let me just say that this is something we've been battling for many decades on building software. And so Tasty has a feature that no other platform has. Our dev team built something called order chains. And order chains allow you to track a single trade. It's built into the platform. It's all automated. And they allow you to track a single trade from inception with as many rolls as you have. So rolls, adjustments, it doesn't matter. You can have 3, you can have 300. And we track the exact same trade and it tracks your P&L. So to the best of my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure about this, Tasty is the only platform in the world that has this feature called order chains. And it is very effective. It works on about, I want to say, you know, there's a few products like, you know, like that aren't centrally cleared. So for example, like Bitcoin or spot FX, things like that. But for all listed futures and all listed futures options and listed options, it works fine.
Cool. Avi, I know you asked about the recording, but I'm just going to tell you that if you follow me on Twitter, Angeline Ong, I'll try and record some of that stuff for you, but you heard Tom explain why it's not recorded. Let's get some questions in. I know we had some from Mystic Meg as well. So there are some others. Let's whack those up first. Away from the numbers, whose real name is Neil. Away from the numbers is coming tonight.
Love it.
Which is fantastic. You weren't awake last night because I think I messaged you. Tasty's been a revelation. As a UK trader, I knew options but struggled with low liquidity and wide spreads. Discovered Tasty via IG Brum 2024 event. Started in March, 132 trades in. Tasty Live.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Love it. I don't think there's a question there, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah, he's going to take it. He's going to take it. We'll take it.
We'll take all the kind words and all the great feedback we can.
Yeah. Mystic Meg, speaking of kind words, Mystic Meg is one of our loyal followers, but would not like the name revealed. That's
okay.
why.
I prefer acronyms or fun names.
Fantastic.
But Mystic Meg, is that Mystic from?
Mystic Meg. Yeah, you know Mystic
Meg.
Meg? You know that character, Mystic Meg? Yeah. So I don't know why this person chose Mystic Meg, but wants to be known as this, which is great. When you enter, I've not met this person, by the way.
That's okay.
When you enter a daily scalp trade, do you have your platform set up to take a percentage profit when entering the trade? And do you ever use bracket orders?
No and no. So Mystic, I have been scalping my entire life. I entered the business in 1981 as a scalper in the pits in Chicago, and I've been scalping until now. It's 2025, and I still scalp. I have never entered a bracket order once, and I've never entered a order to sell on a percentage. There might be a number, like I put a limit order in for sure. You know, like it's some number that I just in my head. Let's just say I'm hoping to make 5 handles on a future. I mean, I'll put a limit in above if I want to, but generally I don't leave resting orders. It's just not my thing. Now, again, I'm a junkie. I sit in front of the screen, and some people that have jobs, that actually have real jobs and do real things, that build real stuff, that they need to, which is totally fine. The question was for me, I don't.
Fantastic. We have several others from Mystic Mag. Let's get them across right now. Oh, Monkey Man first. So Monkey
like a little monkey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Monkey Man is also one of our core traders and viewers of Trade Live with IG. What's the core principle behind Tasty's small trades, big returns approach? And how do you recommend beginners adopt this mindset without getting overwhelmed?
Yeah, Tasty's approach has never been small trades, big returns. Yeah. Our approach has always been trade small, trade often.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking of Jenny and Liz's advert going over and over again.
Well,
small and often.
Liz and Jenny came up with the trade small, trade often, and we've been using it for 14 years. And the reason we do that is because we believe in law of large numbers. So we take a very probabilistic approach, very quantitative, statistical, but it's essentially a probabilistic approach to trading. We want to put more wins on the board than losses.
Right.
Now, you can't do that with static products. So like, futures, stocks, whatever it is. But with options, they're much more strategic. So you can actually, you can trade limited profitability for a higher probability of profit. So in other words, if you limit the amount of money you can make, you can improve your probability of profit. It's just a math equation. This has nothing to do with like picking the right thing. You can improve your probability of profit to some number, let's just say like 70 or 80%. It's just math.
Yeah, statistics.
It's not subjective.
Yeah.
So what happens is you create more winners than losers. Now, there's no theoretical advantage there, but what we want to do is teach traders to learn to be successful.
Yeah.
And so that's our game plan. And so to do that on a one-off basis, it's very random. But if you create a lot of occurrences, again, that's the law of large numbers, you're going to come out with statistically right around where you should be. And so that's the approach to trade small, trade often. The number one mistake traders make and why you can't survive, why you don't survive in this business is because you trade too big. So the concept of trade small is just common sense. Trade small, stay around forever. Trade often, law of large numbers.
That's right. Making it easier for you to be successful and, of course, be a sustainable trader.
Yep.
Let's get the next chart up because I know Tom's got, your time's very precious here. Send your questions as well. If you've got any to ask at IG.com or whack them in the comments page right here. What was your first trading strategy?
Well, my first trading strategy when I got to the trading floor, when I was first traded,
SIBO?
yeah, when I first traded, I don't even remember.
And
That
the
was
SPY
like
pit.
the S&P 100.
Yeah.
So it was 100, not the 500. But my first trading strategy when you get to the floor is whatever you're the counterparty to every trade. Like market makers don't actually decide what they want to do. They just take the other side of what anybody else wants to do. So my first trading strategy was to scalp. So whether I was buying or selling, I was kind of a scalper. After that, when I really turned into being more strategic, my favorite strategy would probably be, some form of short premium, like a ratio spread.
Cool.
We'll do a lot of those tonight too.
Yeah. Jugger, are you coming tonight? Jugger is from Germany.
Oh, we have a lot of people flying in tonight, and we have a lot of people flying into Milan Monday night.
Nice. We've been telling people, someone on the chat, not acceptable, saying that they couldn't get their passport, didn't think they could get their passport done in time here to go to Milan. And I said you could pay 60 quid and get fast track version.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So we got Jugger asking, will it become more easy to fund an account from Europe? Because European banks use the SEPA system and not the ACH. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Did not yet. It's not been able to fund.
We've been struggling.
We feel your pain.
We do feel your pain. We've been struggling with this for 25 years, and one of the reasons I'm so excited about, funding with stablecoin and funding with just anything other than using international banks. I despise the fact that international banks, are such a ripoff. And when it comes to money transfer and money conversion, conversion.
It is a ripoff.
Yeah. And so we are trying, you'll see a bunch of new funding options in place within the next 60 days. We've been working on it for a year. We're ready to roll it out.
Cool. And Biggie Beers, I got your back, Biggie Beers. Because I too have read the Unlucky Investor's Guide to Options Trading. We will get that question done by Bat, because he is coming on after this, and I hear from producer Phil that he's waiting in the wings. But Tom, amazing stuff. Thank you for answering so many of those questions. There are loads more.
I love it.
Come tonight. Ask him yourself. Come tonight to the event. You've got the link on the show. But stay right there, because Bat's coming right up.
Watch Trade Live with IG weekdays from 7:30 a.m. on our brand new YouTube channel at Trade Live with IG.
As well as the live show on our new YouTube, you will find our full beginner's course to trading options, daily YouTube shorts of all the action that happens after the show's finished, and Trade of the Week and Psychology of Markets.
And don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive trading content.
Do you like the sound of tax-free trading? Well, that's exactly what spread betting enables you to do. This tax-free way of trading lets you speculate on the price of over 17,000 financial instruments, like shares, indices, forex, and commodities, without actually owning them. With spread betting, you can benefit from both rising and falling prices, letting you find the perfect opportunity. So if you think the market's going up, you buy. If you think it's going down, then you can sell short. Not only is spread betting exempt from capital gains tax, but it's also commission-free. All you pay is the spread. With us, you're not alone. You're part of a wide community of traders that you can learn from. We've got the experts, the tools, and extensive educational resources to help you on your journey. If you're not quite ready to trade with real money, you can always give it a go on a demo account. Open an account today, join the conversation, and be inspired to make moves.
Tasty Live's godfather of options, Tom Sosnoff, is grabbing his passport and taking this show international. He'll be joined by IG's Rich McDonald in London and Milan, along with special guests at each stop for an evening of live trading. It's fun, challenging, and moves as fast as the market. Doors open at 5, with trading starting at 6. Come early and have a pint or glass of vino with the boys. It's totally free, but space is limited. Register at tastylive.com/events. Options just got molto interessante.
Hey, trader friends, welcome back. We have the legendary back here with us. All the way from Chicago. I heard you. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate you having me back on. I know I had to clean up a lot of the mistakes that Tom just made a moment ago, so I'm here for you, Angelina. I'm here.
Is that why you brought the dustpan and brush?
Yes.
The stuff.
Whatever I need to do.
Last night was great, eh?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! You guys brought the good weather.
Yeah, the weather's been has been awesome. Although I've heard a few people complain it's even too hot. You know how that gets. But I mean, it's been outstanding for me. It's been beautiful here.
Just a reminder of the pictures, trader friends, just whacking this up really quickly. This was last night at Brat and Hackney, and look at that. Woo! There's Brett, and there's Liz, and there's Rich there, and we are drinking cold beers to try and cool down. And here we are with Sharon as well. And the main thing that was on the Twitter was, where is Bat?
Yeah, a little delayed.
Someone said, has he skived off?
I was there on time.
Sightseeing.
I was there on time.
We were there on time. We were there on time.
But you guys were a little bit early.
I think we're like, is he lost?
Probably.
Is the Uber?
It would be the first time I was lost.
Right, we got loads of questions because we have lots of trader friends dialing in and putting their questions on the page. Steve Davies, one of our trader friends and very loyal Trade Live with IG viewer, asking, Tony, do you have a favorite stock or a sector to trade?
I mean, favorite is a hard word to use because they fall in and out of favor. As like Tom just mentioned ago, like oil is kind of in play right now. I never would look at oil, 6 months ago, really. So oil's more in play. For me, I like more of the Mag 7. I like liquidity. Liquidity is king for me, especially in the option trading world. So any liquid stock that has a little bit of movement to it, that's the ones that I like to trade.
Cool. We also had Bigger Beers, question from Bigger Beers earlier on. Bigger Beers, I feel you. I too made the commitment because I met Julius Spina, who wrote the Unlucky Investor's Guide to Options Trading. I read the whole thing, and I feel like I didn't do it justice because, our jobs are like full on, right? I don't know about you, but my mind is like mush by the time I come off the show. And I feel like I need to take that book to when I'm on holiday, when I don't have so many things, but it's such a great book. What other option books is useful to gain in-depth value in options?
This is going to sound so pretentious.
No.
Yeah, no, really. I read the book too, and it's a difficult read.
It is,
It's
right?
really...
You need lots of coffee, you need space, brain space.
You do. I found engineers really love it. So if you're of that higher learner type person, I'm more of a, I'm not either. I'm more of a picture book kind of guy. So there's a good...
Dog man.
Right. There's a good picture book called, I believe it's called How to Trade Like Tom Sosnoff and Tony Battista, that a viewer actually self-published a long time ago. So it's a little bit dated, but
can
you
I find it online? Can we whack that up, producer Phil?
You can get a good concept there. And I think you can find it online for free, like in a PDF or something like that. So that's what I would...
I'll try and find it.
That's why I said it was going to sound pretentious, right? I mean...
A bit of self-promotion.
No, we don't have... he self-published it, and he donates any of the proceeds, which I don't think there were many.
Is it in pictures? Tell me the title again.
How to Trade Like Tom Sosnoff and Tony Battista. The author is Antonio Rihan, R-I-H-A-N. Again, it was a long time ago. It's a little bit dated, but you'll get you'll get.
Here we are. There you are. Whack my screen up. You can get it on Google Books.
Yeah, don't even pay for it. I mean, I know he donates the proceeds to him. I believe he still does. It was a long time ago. Yeah, 2013 was when it was published. So it's been a long time ago. But if you want an easy read, 220 pages, a lot of pictures.
I like pictures. I like pictures.
Yeah, we had nothing to do with it.
I like any book that I can read with a mojito.
Yeah, me too. I'm a visual learner. But, we had nothing to do with it. He did it all by himself, and I think he did a nice job.
Is Tony a tasty?
He is. He is. He's actually on the follow page too these days, so you can find him there on our Tasty Trade follow page. He was a viewer just like everybody else, just kind of absorbed it all, and then went and did his own thing. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Right. Away from numbers saying Angelus, but throwing a 7 was a key takeaway for me. Yeah. And I was given the hardback, which I got it assigned, and I realized I need the softback too, because the hardback's a bit
You know, I think we
heavy
all
to carry, and the softback was like I could take it on the plane with me.
Sure. I mean, however you get to the, we all, the bartender last night made me a great drink, and then the bartender had to leave. Another bartender came in and said, that guy made a great drink. Are you going to be able to do this? Because he was really fancy. He was swinging the
Not as fancy
jigger.
as you during the advert for the original location for.
Yeah,
saw that.
He gave a good running for it, but the next guy that came in wasn't quite as fancy with it, but he got the drink right and it was great. So it all depends. We all get there. It depends on how we get there. It's irrelevant at that point.
Abby Fine from Tel Aviv was meant to be coming tonight, but now is stuck because of the flight delays. Tony, American versus European options, the ability to exercise prior to expiration. However, I've not experienced any of my in-the-money positions being assigned prior to expiration. Probability?
Quite low, and especially if you follow our mechanics, which we outline on our site, and you're going to outline them on yours quickly too. We roll our trades. I know Tom got a question a moment ago about rolling trades, and rolling trades Tom didn't explain, so let me explain it to you. Usually we put on trades around 45 days before expiration, and we take them off around 21 days before expiration. And if you do that, the chance of being exercised or assigned is basically zero. But let me explain something. When an option gets exercised or assigned, your risk has not changed. It just means now you have stock instead of an option. And it might cost you more money to hold that position. That's the whole difference. But your delta, your amount of shares that you control, has not changed when you get exercised or assigned. But if you close or roll at 21 days, it takes away all the dividend risk if you're short an option. It takes all away the delta risk that you had on the position, because when you roll from one month to the next, you reduce your delta by about 30 to 50%, depending on how you roll.
Yeah. So it really depends.
All the mechanics, and again, this comes back to what I said when I was talking with Rich a moment. It comes all back to confidence. If you know that when you get assigned or exercised on a stock that it doesn't change your risk, and you have that day to get back into the option, no matter what amount of money you have in your account, all of a sudden you say, okay, it doesn't matter that I got assigned.
Yeah, you just play it a different way.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got another question. Let's hit it up from R. Saxena. R. Saxena came to our last London event, and she brought her husband as well. She's one of our top female traders.
Awesome. We'd love to see you.
Yeah. Are you coming tonight, R. Sax? I'd love to see you. She's also really into defense stocks. Knows her stuff. Is Tasty planning to add? I've been asking for you for a long time. Is Tasty planning to add demo trading?
Yeah. We've had it.
I'm told it's on the list.
Say again? Yes, it is on the list, and it's high on the list. It's something that we probably should have added because the customer really wants it. And I know that I can't speak for Tasty Trade side, the brokerage side of it, the Tasty Live side of it, but I know it's something that they want to do, and I'm sure they will get it. Believe me, squeaky wheel gets the oil, so keep the questions coming like that.
There's been loads of demand for that here on the European side as well, and the UK
it
side.
It slows down the platform a lot because you really are getting live quotes. So now all of a sudden, if you have 1 million accounts, now you have 2 million accounts with a demo account. So we've kept the speed and functionality of Tasty Trade to be number one, the fastest in the industry.
Yeah.
And that's really why we haven't really brought it out. So if we do bring it out, we'll have to have it on a dedicated servers and not have it part of the overall platform. So there's some technology. I'm not a technologist. I'm a color book reader. So for me, you're asking the wrong person.
Arthur Fox Haig coming up with a really, really good question, because I have asked this as well and asked them to put it on the list. Are there any plans to make Tasty functionality accessible via some kind of IG overlay tax-free spread bet wrapper? So I have put that on the list on this side because, as you know, spread betting is tax-free.
Yeah.
So they're wondering whether the same thing can be done for Tasty?
Listen, we've been an advocate for the retail investor for a whole
one.
career, right?
Yeah, day
since
one.
the early '80s. So yeah, of course, this is something we'd like to do. There's some regulatory issues with it, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, when somebody asks, like, why can't we do this, or why don't we want to do this? Listen, I want to give you access to everything. Tasty Trade wants to give you access to everything, but there's some regulatory behind everything, and that's usually the stopping
reason.
block.
Yeah. Right. Eric Jones coming up as well with a very clever question. Does trading so many options to take advantage of the law of large numbers? So we talked about this with Tom earlier, right?
Yep.
Having more winners than losers, and using a very mathematical way of doing this. And really, can it really beat the buy and hold strategy?
Sure, 100%. So if you're, and you'll do a lot of back testing, and we have free back testing on Tasty Trade that you can do, and you'll see buy and hold outperform any type of like trading small and trading often kind of thing. But it's not indicative or really a great way of showing it. I'll make a quick example. You have $10,000 to invest. How many shares of a stock can you buy if the stock is trading $200-300 a share? You can't buy very many, and you're going to have a limited. Now you have an odd lot. You'll have under 100 shares of stock. Well, with options, you basically have 10 times leverage. I know in the UK you guys are used to, a couple of 100 times leverage, but we have 10 times leverage there. You can get a lot bigger with a smaller amount of options, and you always overperform. And when you start out with a 50-50 shot of stock, you can't mathematically beat out something that has a 60, 70, or 80% probability of success. Now, bull markets make geniuses out of everybody. We're basically at all-time highs.
We are.
So, it's made people very, very happy who are buying hold, and I love it. But remember, when the NASDAQ first crashed, it took about 10 or 12 years to get back to even for a buy and hold strategy. So it depends on what time and strategy you're looking at.
Yeah.
Either way, it works and it's great. But we always look at, people who, I challenge people who have, like we have IRA accounts in the US. I challenge people to tell me the name of the mutual fund that you're holding in your IRA account. You probably don't know the symbol to it or know how it's performed. And that's no way to go through life. We work so hard for the money that we make, and then we put it into an IRA account or we give it to a financial advisor, and that day they invest for you. Was that day the best day to get in? No, that day was the best day for you to get in for them. Now the markets, kind of saved you there, but that's no way to go through life. You have to know what you own, and you have to know what you're making on a percentage basis to compare it to the overall market. Otherwise, why?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Quick question while we're on that, because I'm curious. Do you think currently, because markets are at all-time highs, whether or not we should be looking at signals from the oil markets generally saying they're kind of ignoring what's happening right now in the Middle East? It's kind of calmed down, right?
Yeah, it's calmed down a little bit, yeah.
Or actually, they haven't factored in enough of what mayhem could erupt out of there. If we get a situation whereby the U.S. might take some sort of, might intervene in some way.
Right.
Do you think that markets have discounted this and we're in dangerous ground here? We're on dangerous ground.
Well, volatility in oil is probably 4 times as high as it was about 2 or 3 months ago. So is that enough? I mean, that's the $64,000 question. I don't know the answer to that. But I do know that if an option was trading at $2 a couple of months ago at X percentage out of the money, it's now trading closer to $6 or $7 or $8. Now, I don't know if that's too expensive or too cheap, but what are you going to do about it to benefit? So you have to come up with a strategy. And I think if you learn strategies, you can find with high implied volatility spreads, buying one option and selling another, call on all calls or all puts, trade a lot cheaper when volatility is high. So call spreads and put spreads are trading very cheap, and naked options are trading very expensive. So let's take advantage of that fact and then come out with a strategy that fits your assumption on the stock or the future, which way it's going to go, and benefit that way.
Nice.
How it's going to do or what it's going to do or what it was yesterday versus today, I mean, that's anybody's guess. And usually, you know, you have two opinions and they're like armpits. They both stink. So.
That's what makes a market.
That's what makes a market.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
correct. Yeah.
And we got another question coming up from Chimpanzee Chap. As you can tell, we got lots of primates
Yes.
on
yes,
the show. How did the relationship between IG and Tasty start, and what is the future?
Well, I mean, well, IG is king, right? They own Tasty, so they bought us, and I think they found a really good underpriced stock in Tasty Trade, and I think they did a great job noticing that we were undervalued. So I mean, you know, listen, they're the owners, they're the kings, and I hope it's a long, fruitful one. It's going to be around for forever.
Yeah.
I hope they keep all the people, and they have left us alone for the last 4 years or so to build the business. I hope that continues for the next, you know, as many years as the great one upstairs allows us to be here. So
yeah, and we can keep bringing fine products to you, lovely people.
Yeah.
Let's end with a fun one. From Abby Feininger. Where can we see Vanessa perform stand-up live? I love Vanessa. I love Vanessa.
Yeah.
And she goes to these like cool gigs, and she drives a motorbike, and she does these crazy zip wire.
yeah,
Yeah.
skis.
Oh my
you know,
goodness.
climbs icebergs. I mean, she's
Climbed an iceberg?
yeah. She's a risk taker. A
also
lot
a
more than
Tay-
Tom and I guess.
She's also a huge Tay fan. Flew
Yes.
all the way to Germany.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's commitment.
Yeah, that is commitment. You know, we had 5 or 6 comedians that started Tasty Trade 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah, Tom was saying, yeah.
Yeah, to make fun of traditional news like CNBC or Bloomberg or something like that. And she's the only one that's left out of them. So she is the strong survivor, and she's very good at what she does. And you can find her around Chicago. I don't think she's really an introvert, believe it or not. She's not an extrovert.
I loved her desk.
Yeah.
You know, when I went there,
She had all her pink stuff up.
you knew it was Vanessa's desk
Yes, you did.
before
Yes,
you
you did.
even like got there.
Yeah.
And Ange was like kind of slightly jet lagged, and you know, came into the office and was like, I know that's Vanessa's desk.
Yeah, funny. You can tell right away.
Yeah. I was in before the reception, so I felt like I was kind of breaking in to your
I'll
office.
come film her one day and I'll put it out on Twitter, or we'll bring it on on the Tasty site
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
She's got great energy, Vanessa.
Yes, she does.
And she also, I asked her for a big favor, please, big shout out to Vanessa. I said, can you please, since I was starting the show with Frank, send us, you know, what you work on the night before. And that just gives us, you know, a leg up. And she's done so ever since till today. It's great.
Yeah, she's a great team player.
Right, we gotta go because we have more coming up. Producer Phil, what's coming up next? We've got more of the Battista, this time with the McDonald. And no, with Nick Battista.
Oh, awesome, my son. Beautiful.
Yeah, don't worry, you weren't being replaced.
That's okay. It's okay. We got to get younger somehow.
Please slam the like and subscribe button. We try to get all of your questions in. I know there are about 100 left.
Awesome.
Keep them coming in because I'll get them asked for you. If not here, but then tonight, do come and ask them yourselves. Come to the event. All right, we'll see you.
Welcome back, everybody. In this series of interviewing the Tasty Stars, I've had the pleasure of speaking to Tom Sosnoff, Dr. Jim Schultz, and the legendary Tony Battista. Now, in that interview, we did discuss that the sequel is never quite as good as the original. However, in this case, I think it's more of an upgrade. Welcome to the show, Nick Battista.
Thank you for having me, Rich. I appreciate it. I'm excited to talk with you.
Oh, I'm very excited this end as well. So I guess, you know, the first question we've been really asking everybody is, how did you get into trading in the first place? Was it, you know, the sort of fatherly influence? Was that the discussions at the dinner table? Or was it something that you naturally found a passion for already?
It's funny because growing up, it was it was really hard to understand what my dad did for a living. I always thought he just he went to work, and my idea was that he was just screaming all day, because he would talk about how, you know, he would come home and his voice would be hoarse and whatnot. So I always thought that he was a professional screamer. So I really didn't understand what trading was until I got a little bit older. And, you know, I was always interested in finance and in business and math. I was always on the math side of things for my school studies. And so it was a pretty natural progression. But, you know, to say that I knew what trading was when I was younger, it would be completely untrue. It's one of those things where it's not often taught in school. There's no option playbook. There's no option related class. It's always just an investing type situation where they tell you, you know, buy stocks for 10 years or 20 years or something like that. There's really nothing that teaches you.
At least you get that. We don't even get that on this side of the pond.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things that's really, really hard and that isn't readily available to people. So for me, starting off with Tasty and how I got into this was really looking for opportunities and starting at the ground level. I mean, when we started Tasty, it was a completely different company than what it is now. And for me, you know, I wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps, and I was interested in what they were doing, and I saw the opportunities. And, you know, it was one of those things where I just started at the, you know, very novice level and worked my way up into the trader that I am now.
And so when did you actually start at Tasty then, and how long did it take until you were on the screen?
So when I was originally hired, Christy Ross, who was the CEO at the time, she pulled me in the office and she was like, you know, we're excited to have you, and you know, I'm excited to get you familiar with trading and the content side, and we're gonna put you on air next week. And so my first day at Tasty, they told me, and that, you know, when I was hired just to be, you know, on the support side and just kind of, you know, at that time we were very much a startup, so everybody did a little bit of everything all over the place. And I was excited for the opportunity to get on camera, but I was certainly a little bit apprehensive and you know, not ready for the big lights. But that's the way we do it here, man. It's trial by fire, and it's throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I think that's kind of what happened with me when I started, was that, you know, the content wasn't as good as it is now, certainly, but that's how you have to start. You have to throw something at the wall and see if it sticks, and grow with the content through the experience of it. So that was really how I first started, was just kind of getting thrown on the show and learn it as I go.
It is funny. You look back to the Tasty YouTube, and there's a video from 12 years ago, and it's of your father. And literally, it's as if I'm speaking to that person right now in front of me. You know, to say that you look alike, there's certainly no question that you're adopted anyway.
Yes, no, they always say, you know, your mother. The father you can't always be so sure of. The mother can't fake it, but I think Tony is my dad. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah. Now, what about, you know, going back to the first day? So that was your first time on screen. What about before that? Had you ever found yourself in the limelight or on stage in your school days, for example?
And not necessarily. I mean, my first job out of college was in a finance related field. I worked in credit markets and debt, and so I was familiar with the basics of trading and the basics of financial markets. But prior to that, I really had no experience, you know, on camera, and even in those days, not to date myself here, you know, the social media aspect wasn't really part of the game, right? It was still, you know, the early days of iPhones, and, you know, Instagram was just getting launched. It was still Facebook and those sort of things. So there really wasn't anything.
What about
there was no practice I had going into it.
What about back at school, like, you know, drama? Did you take place in school shows and things like that?
Nope. It was completely a fresh start for me. But you know, I had always been
to show you one of these, Nick.
Well, I don't know what is it.
That's a kazoo.
A kazoo. There you go.
Because your father told us a story about one time that you were on stage at school.
Okay.
And you had misplaced your musical instrument. So you just went and stood on stage. So I decided to get you this as a gift.
Thank you.
And I'm going to give it to your father when he's across in London.
I appreciate that. And it was actually a recorder. So
Right.
it was the first instrument that we would play. I think this was like maybe like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, something very early on. And so, yes, my official first time on stage was certainly a fail. If we're counting that as the first time on stage.
But you still got up there. I think that was what your dad was so proud of. He's like, all right, he hasn't got his instrument, but he's not shy.
Yes, I was never shy. Certainly not.
Now, what's one piece of advice that your father's given you about markets that has really kept you, on track and the right way? And then maybe one bit of advice that wasn't so useful or accurate.
I think, the one thing that my dad has taught me throughout my trading career is just to not be afraid of taking risk. I think that's the hardest thing for people to get over, is the aspect of, not every trade is going to be a winning trade, and not every, situation that you're in is going to be a good situation for your portfolio. And I think putting risk on is really the hardest. Clicking the button is always the first step, and it's the hardest one for people to do. They overanalyze things. You read an article or you see something in the news and you think you know something, or that somebody else knows something that you don't know. Those are the things that go through everybody's mind. And for me, I think the point that really pushed me forward was understanding that, there's no reward without the risk. There's no risk-free trade. And so, my dad really taught me and pushed me to put risk on, and to put your idea out there, and to put your trade on. And sometimes they're going to be losing trades, and a lot of the time they're going to be winning trades, but you have to put risk on to really move forward with trading. And so I think that was one of the biggest keys for me. In terms of something that didn't work, I would say that sticking to not having your own ideas about trading. I think we get stuck in kind of our tasty vacuum of mechanics, which are awesome, but at the end of the day, you have to have your own risk tolerance and your own directional assumptions and your own thoughts about markets. And so I think a lot of that, we get in a little bit of an echo chamber. We're all kind of the same traders. And so listening to other people can sometimes lead you astray if you don't have that same sort of opinion.
And what about trading stock? My background was an equities trader, market maker. What about just the basic trading stock as opposed to options? Is that part of your trading life, or is it mostly options?
I think the option market has really broadened out my outlook on investing and trading in itself as well. Options allow you so much flexibility to leverage and to size your positions much more efficiently than just stock. Like, it's one thing to buy 1 share of NVIDIA or 10 or 100 shares of NVIDIA, but to use options to get that same sort of exposure is so much more capital efficient. And so in my own personal trading, whether it be IRA accounts, Roth and traditional IRA accounts, or my own personal money, I use options to leverage my, that know-how in options to leverage stock positions. And I think that's really, something that is really powerful, and especially for people that are on the younger side. And I know I've got lots of gray hair now, turning into the old Tony Battista here. but I think for people that understand options, it allows you a lot more flexibility and a lot more leverage to put positions on versus stock, which is just so capital intensive. And so I think through all my learning here, it's allowed me to kind of to leverage up that know-how.
And you mentioned, back in your early years, your school days, it was kind of hard to understand this job that your dad was doing.
Yeah.
If you were speaking to somebody now that found the options market difficult, whether it be a 12-year-old, a 25-year-old, or a 60-year-old, a lot of our viewers haven't yet made the jump from trading stocks to trading options. How would you describe the options world to them in a basic level of explanation?
Well, I think now the access to information is so quick and is so accessible that it's much easier to start now than when I started. When I started, there weren't, I was reading Shelley Natenberg's, Option Pricing and Volatility. It's a great read, but it's very, very dry and it's not very engaging. And now you have access to all sorts of information at your fingertips in the computer that you carry in your pocket. So I think that is a huge benefit to people just starting off. I think the easiest way to describe options, or at least get somebody started with options, is to explain that options are a small way to get exposure to something very big, right? So options, you can build option positions for a couple $100 in risk. And I know that everybody has their own risk tolerance, but from a size perspective, options allow you to get small. You can also get large with those positions as well. But really, the flexibility of options to build positions and size positions appropriately is something that's a lot more attractive than just buying stock. Like if I tell you that you can make $100 on being long NVIDIA, if you're buying 10 shares, you have to have NVIDIA go up 10% to make $100. You can make trades that have a similar sort of risk or use a similar amount of capital and benefit much more quickly from that sort of assumption using options. And so I think just the leverage aspect and the sizing aspect of options is really what's the most attractive part of trading.
And, a great strategy for a beginner, of course, is defined risk.
Yeah.
What would you say your favorite defined risk strategy is that you find yourself using time after time?
So for somebody just starting off, I start with put spreads, right? Just selling short put spreads. See, it's the most, most people are comfortable being long a stock. They say, I want to be long NVIDIA. What's a good way to be long NVIDIA? And I start with put spreads. I think that's the easiest way to start off and get exposure. For me, with a little bit higher risk tolerance, a little bit more directional assumptions, using diagonal spreads are an interesting way to get long a stock. Poor man's covered calls. These are ways that you can leverage option know-how to build more capital efficient positions. It's very capital intensive to buy 100 shares of NVIDIA and watch it move 10 or 20 cents a day or $1 a day. It's just not, it's not a good use of my capital. And so building a poor man's cover call or a diagonal spread, those are the ways that I like to participate in stock trading.
And then would you say that's developed over your time on screen and at Tasty?
I think so. I mean, of course, the hardest part is clicking the button, and I've mentioned that before. And once you start to take risk, it gets progressively easier to take that same sort of risk, right? So once the repetition of trading and the understanding of trading, and not just the understanding of like why a stock is moving, but the things that you can control about your trades, looking at volatility, understanding time, understanding some of the other more intricate Greeks like gamma or rho when interest rates change, all those things kind of get easier to understand and you get more comfortable with them, the more that you're able to put out risk. And I think as people trade, and as somebody starting off, gets more and more positions on, those things you become more comfortable with all those things, and trading itself becomes a lot more comfortable.
Great. Now, talking about being comfortable, you've got your own show now, haven't you? Options Trading Concepts, and walk us through what you cover in that show.
So Mike and I, we try to take higher level content and condense it down into a more simple understanding. So we take a lot of the strategies, concepts, trade ideas, all those things, and cover them throughout the week. We've started to incorporate a lot of special guests. So we try to cover a wide range of concepts, from FX markets to, commodities and futures. We have Ryan on for crypto, 3 trade ideas with Katie. So we try to cover a broad range of topics and concepts, and make them a little bit more easy to understand for those starting off. So I would say the range of content is very, very wide, from novice to advanced, but we try to condense it down and make it digestible for the viewers. And of course, the aspect of live trading is a huge part of our content. We're making multiple trades a day, every single day, no matter what's happening in the markets. That's always going to be a part of our content.
And what do you prefer more? Do you prefer the trading side? Do you prefer the on-screen side? Or is it a combination of them both?
I think it's got to be the trading side. I mean, I love trading. I love taking risk. I love analyzing markets and looking at volatility and trying to find opportunities, and taking, ideas from our chat and from Twitter and from people that email in, and building off of those assumptions, and just building that small little trading community that we have. That's a huge part of my show. I mean, I've covered a lot of the topics in trading. Iron condors, I've done it 1,000 times, but when the concept doesn't change. I think that's the hardest part for people to understand. And when they start trading, they think their iron condor is different than something I've covered 100 times. The concepts are all the same. It's the execution and the emotions and the things that you're trading around day to day that change. And I think that's, a huge part of our trading, is looking at our own trades, looking at trade ideas that we get from various sources, and showing how those things are moving and changing to the market right now, versus the basic concept of what is an iron condor or what is a short put. Those things are static.
And that kind of mindset, what do you think sets it apart from the likes of sports betting, for example? Do you love also getting into the companies and having specific views on companies, or is it just math?
I think it's hard. The math part of it is the thing that we can trade around, right? So the company specific, price PE ratios, new products, events, those things are binary, and the reflection of the stock movement is not necessarily what you would think from those sort of binary events, right? So Apple reports earnings and beats all their numbers, but the stock goes down. What does that mean? Does that mean that, they're not good numbers, actually, even though they are good numbers? Those things are random. The math side of trading is not random. We can trade volatility, and we could sell volatility when it's high. We can buy it when it's low. We know about time decay, right? As time passes, value decays. And so these are things that we can actually trade around. I can't trade around the reaction to Apple's earnings directly, right? I can make an assumption about changes in volatility and changes in time. Those are things that I can make assumptions on, but the actual stock itself is going to do what it's going to do. So I think incorporating and using the analytics side of trading, PE ratios or events or products, whatever. Those things are great things to incorporate into trading, but they're not necessarily my focus day to day.
I think that's what became obvious to me. I've traded options for 18 years, but I've never really understood options until I discovered Tasty. And first of all, playing around with the platform, right, getting ready to it, because it can be a little bit intimidating. But, you know, that took me 5-6 hours. But actually learning the mechanics and spending time with Sosnoff and listening to your father, I started to really get it. And my goodness, your P&L suddenly changes when you start to understand it. And it's really exciting. So, you know, this great thing that you guys are doing a TV show that is helping people not only really understand what they're trading, but helping them to increase their probabilities of making money and losing less money. You know, it must be such an exciting thing to be part of.
It's awesome. I mean, I love putting the names to faces. I think that's the one of the most rewarding parts of what we do here when we do our live events, and somebody comes up to me and tells me their YouTube handle, and I recognize it from our daily chats and the emails. You know, I've emailed with people for years, for 5, 6, 7 years, back and forth, just, you know, on all sorts of things, on, you know, food places that I should, you know, restaurants I should go to in whatever city I'm going to next, to trade ideas, to current events, to politics. I mean, these are it's almost like friends. You know, we've built this sort of network of like-minded people, of traders, of friends, and that's really an awesome part of this business is putting those names to faces in those live events and Twitter and all those other social medias that we use throughout the day here.
It is funny because we're building up a fantastic community on our own show in London now, and you recognize all the names, you recognize when there's a new name, but you also notice when somebody's not there, or if they've disappeared for a few days, you know, you start to think, I hope they're okay, maybe they're on holiday. So yeah, I can definitely, you know, get that kind of feeling as well.
And that only gets bigger. You know, when we started, this was a small operation, and, you know, that's how we've always grown, is through word of mouth and building this sort of community. It's never, you know, it's never it's always organic. It's never, you know, a forceful type thing. You know, if you don't like the content, you don't watch. But people like the content, and they tell friends, and those people, you know, it snowballs into a bigger and bigger community.
Yeah, and of course, as we know, there's Tony and your father. Tom, your father, and JJ, Scott Sheridan. So I would say, you know, they're maybe the OGs, but now as director of trading content, you're building up a new, you know, how would you describe yourself?
Next gen,
yeah.
Of course. I mean, you know, the trading hasn't changed and will never change. You know, there will always be stock trading. There will always be buyers and sellers. There will always be markets. And so, you know, the content will continue on, whether it's Tom and Tony or Nick and Mike or Chris and Ilya or any of the, or Rich coming on. I mean, this will always go on, and markets will always be here. And so there's always going to be something to talk about in markets. And so I'm excited for the future, and we're building, you know, we have so many new hosts over the last couple years that we've brought on. And so, you know, the future of Tasty is brighter than ever. We're going to have more people, more shows, more content, you know, more things to trade. The trading space is only getting bigger. So it's going to be awesome.
Do you ever think what you would be doing if you hadn't come into Tasty?
Oh man. I've done a lot of different things. I mean, I worked in credit and debt markets. I sold cars when I was in college, so I was a pretty good salesman. But this was the perfect spot for me. I mean, it's the perfect blend of risk and sales and technology. I mean, there is so much that goes into this business that I couldn't imagine it. And really, the best part is that every day it's different. You come in the markets, there's something moving, there's a new stock on the board, there's an IPO, there's a new technology, crypto, there's all sorts of things that happen.
Man and the president are exchanging.
It's the greatest thing. I couldn't imagine coming in every day and punching a time clock and doing the same thing over and over and over again. That the fact that every day is different and there's new opportunities every single day, I couldn't ask for anything better.
And if we are looking forward 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, what would be your target? What would be the aim of where Tasty and Tasty IG would be sitting in that future?
I mean, I think the content will continue forever. That goes to the fact that markets are always moving. There's always some sort of opportunity, and everybody wants to be in on that opportunity. So I think the content moves forward forever. I think for us, really, the biggest key is to continuing to build technology and provide tools to people that aren't available now, and just continuing to broaden the access of trading and the technology and the research and the content and the know-how. Those things are how we continue to get better and better through the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now.
Excellent. Now, before we go, please take this opportunity to give the show a plug. When can people find you? And we'll do the time difference so they can listen in from London.
You can find me daily, 11 to 12 Central Standard Time. And that's every single day. On Wednesdays, I'm on in the morning at 9:30 a.m. with Tom and Tony for Johnny Trades. If you're just starting off, you can check out that segment for some quick trade ideas.
Just explain that one for a second, because that really is a cracker.
Sure. So Johnny Trades is a somewhat it's a Soz and Assault type name, right? It's kind of a compliment, kind of an insult. But for those of us that are just starting off trading, maybe you just got a couple $1,000 that you want to trade around just to start learning how to trade. Those of us that are taking small trades, right? Not everybody can take the big risk that Tom can take. That's what our segment is, or my segment is about. Johnny Trades is for those smaller type, newer traders, a reasonable amount of risk while getting started in option trading.
Great. So that's 9:30 Wednesdays?
On Wednesday mornings, yes.
So that's 3:30 p.m. London time. And then you're on every night at what will be 6 p.m. London time, I believe, on the Tasty Network.
Perfect thing to watch while you're eating dinner. Couldn't think of anything
better. It really is. And then by the time that Soz and your father come on, it's 8:30 p.m. here. So it's usually nice little glass of wine just as the market's
bedtime story. It's perfect.
Oh, can you think of anything worse? Well, you're the one who knows for real.
It's true.
Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Absolute pleasure to have you on Trade Live with IG, and we look forward to some point in the London when Soz and your father maybe aren't fancying a live show in London like they are coming up soon. Get your tickets now on Eventbrite. Sign up for the 20th of June. We're going to be showing this just before your dad and Tom are live on stage in London. But yeah, might we be seeing you across here at some point in the future?
I hope so. I plan on it.
Good stuff. Well, you've got my personal invite there. You and I can do the next generation show.
There you go, Rich. I'm with you.
Good stuff, Nick. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Rich.